are in the midst of a rebuilding year, while the New Orleans Saints last season got to the playoffs for the first time ever, and indeed, they're looking to go a lot farther this season. Well, I'm pleased to be working with my partner this year, former Chicago Bears All-Pro safety Gary Fensick. And Gary, the outcome of today's game could very well hinge on that all-important statistic, turnovers.
Well, both the Saints and the Falcons were heavily influenced by turnovers last year. The New Orleans Saints were #1 in the NFL in that all-important turnover differential, while the Falcons were down near the bottom of the league. Last week, the Falcons continued to have problems in that area. They had 350 yards of offense, but they had 4 turnovers, all of which led to Detroit Lions scores. So I think this is one of the key areas we have to watch today.
It was raining the last couple of days here in New Orleans. Today's game will be played under threatening skies. And certainly if they were to experience soggy weather conditions, that would make for a very conservative ball game by two teams that love ball control. So Atlanta won the coin toss. They will be receiving. Kicking off for the New Orleans Saints will be number 7, Morton Anderson. And we will switch that. The Atlanta Falcons will be kicking off. Greg Davis, first-year play out of the Citadel, will be kicking off back deep for the New Orleans Saints. Mel Gray. And we're underway. A low kick by Davis. Dalton Hilliard takes it for the Saints and runs into a wall in a second effort by Hilliard. Picks up an extra 5 yards for the New Orleans Saints. Bobby Hebert, fourth-year quarterback out of Northwestern Louisiana. 4 touchdowns last week against the San Francisco 49ers. The defense will be facing an experienced one, Dan Casillas and Rick Bryan. Linebacking core of the youngsters, Andre Bruce and Marcus Cotton on the outside. Inside, Radian Williams. And the secondary, Butler, Case, Moore, and Clark. So 1st and 10 for the Saints. Ball marked on the 25-yard line of New Orleans. First play of the game, the pitch goes to Craig Ironhead Hayward, and he picks up about 2 yards on the carry. The offense for the New Orleans Saints. Hebert, Hilliard, Hayward, Eric Martin, and Lonzel Hill. Martin and Hill, the wide receivers. Defensive, make that the offensive line. New addition there, Joel Hilgenberg will be in at right guard, replacing the injured Steve Capillo. They called it a pickup of 3. That'll make it a pickup of 2, making it 2nd down and 8. Hayward in the slot. Hebert to Hilliard, and Hilliard finding the hole forward, maybe about 2 yards. Atlanta defense looking strong early on. The stop by John Rady. Dalton Hilliard, strong game last week, a very underrated player.
They have Hilliard at halfback. They also have Ruben Mays, who you have to expect will play more this week. He's went out of camp during the preseason, had some knee problems, had an operation in the offseason.
Brings up a 3rd and 5. 4 wideouts in. Hebert out of the shotgun. With time, complete across the middle to Robert Clark. And a 1st down for the New Orleans Saints.
One of the things they're going to have to look out for today is that 3rd down conversion. It's going to be very important. Take a look at Clark here. Looks like he's just going man-to-man. Slips inside, makes a nice catch into the hole of the zone.
A 17-yard pickup for the Saints. Robert Moore on the stop for the Falcons. Robert Clark. You see his preseason numbers. First-year player out of North Carolina Central. This is a running play with Hilliard. And Hilliard straight ahead. And the players signal a fumble. And the Falcons recover.
This is nothing but a play up the middle behind a big offensive line. Hilliard takes it in. Good defense by Atlanta, swarming. Looks like Casillas might have stripped the ball there, number 75. Big turnover, big way to start the game for the Atlanta Falcons.
A major momentum boost for the Atlanta Falcons as you take a look at head coach Marion Campbell in his 2nd year at the helm of the Falcons. That fumble was recovered by the 10-year veteran, Joel Williams. 1st and 10 for the Falcons. Ball on the 49 of the Saints. Chris Miller back to pass with plenty of time. Complete to James Primus out of the backfield. And Primus with good pickup. As you take a look at Chris Miller, 2nd-year player out of the University of Oregon. Young player whom the veterans here have rallied behind. The defensive line he'll be facing: James Jumpy Geathers, Elliott, Jim Wilkes. And the strength of the New Orleans defense: Jackson, Mills, Johnson, and Swilling at linebacking for. And the secondary: Waymer, Van Jakes, Antonio Gibson, and Brett Maxey. Pick up a 5, make it 2nd and 5. To Stacey Bailey in motion. The handoff goes to Gerald Riggs, and the Saints players indicate that there's a fumble under the huddle. We'll wait for the official call. And indeed, it's the Saints with the recovery. So the Falcons unable to capitalize. Recovered fumble by the linebacker, Pat Swilling.
Looks like early jitters by both sides. Swilling came down from the linebacking position. At the top of your screen, you'll see him come down. Makes a nice hit, strips the ball. Jackson's there. And right away, both teams look a little jittery on offense.
So Atlanta unable to capitalize on the turnover. And we talked again at the very top about turnovers playing the key in today's game. Atlanta was not able to capitalize. 1st and 10 for the Saints. Ball on the 45. Out of the pro set. This is Hilliard in motion. Hebert back to pass. Play action. To Hilliard out of the backfield. And Dalton Hilliard, looking to atone for his mistake on that last fumble, takes it down to the 30 of the Atlanta Falcons. Gary, you talked about turnovers and how important that could determine the outcome of today. Last week, every team with more takeaways than giveaways won. That says it all.
Let me tell you another thing. On that play, they had some motion. I think it caused some confusion with Andre Bruce, their 1st-round pick. It looked like he was going to blitz. He didn't. Kind of semi-blitz, and it made it difficult for them to get coverage on that play.
A 21-yard pickup by the Saints. 1st and 10 at the Atlanta 30. Hilliard moves up to the slot. Lone back, Craig Hayward. Lonzel Hill in motion. Hebert back to pass. Complete to Hill. And Hill stopped at the 25-yard line. A pickup of 5. That'll bring up a 2nd and 5.
That time, 87 Hill came across in motion and snuck underneath the tight end in the back. They were trying to clear out. Snuck him underneath that zone. You see Lonzel Hill coming across in motion here. And then he just stops, watches Brenner clear out, and then sneaks underneath for an easy pass here. That's something that they hope to be able to do throughout the day.
Ron Rady was in on the stop. 2nd and 5 for the Saints. Ball at the 25 of the Falcons. A handoff to Hilliard. Hilliard dancing. Quick shifting movements, and there's a late flag on the play. Quick shifting movements by Hilliard make him one of the toughest backs in the league to bring down.
Ronnie Lott said he's 208 pounds, but he's a small guy.
And the signal is against New Orleans, as you see referee Dick Hancock about to make the call.
This has got to drive Jim Mora crazy. They had 6 false starts last week.
Illegal procedure. Offense. Number 85 moved off the line of scrimmage. Uncovering the tackle. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
You mentioned 6 false starts last week, and Jim Mora said he couldn't explain it.
Well, he has a veteran offensive line, and it certainly shouldn't be because of the noise here at Open Stadium today in Fulton County.
Last week, the Saints, uncharacteristic for them, 10 penalties for 77 yards, 7 against the offensive line. 2nd and 10 for New Orleans. 10:48 remaining in the first here. Hayward looking for a hole. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. He's dropped. Give the credit to Mike Gann.
Well, I think the Atlanta Falcon defense today is going to be ready. Mike Gann there, the rest of that front line, it's a big target. 260 pounds of fullback. Nowhere to run inside because of the penetration. And boy, I'll tell you what, that's good defense, and they're going to have to play that way all day because when you go against a guy that big, he can break tackles.
A loss of 2 on the play brings up 3rd and call it 11. Saints with their 4 wideouts in. They call this their flush package. Hebert out of the shotgun. Completes to Hill across the middle, but not enough for the first down as Bobby Butler was in on the stop.
Marion Campbell said that he was going to be very concerned about third-day conversion today. Right there they held, did a good job dropping back in zone. And even though Bobby Hebert had time to throw the ball, he just had to give what the defense gave him, and that wasn't enough for a first down.
Not a fancy defense, that of Marion Campbell.
No, but a very effective one. And again, he has young players, doesn't want to get too fancy, too complicated, wants them to grow into this system.
Morton Anderson in to attempt the field goal. It'll be a 41-yard attempt. It's up. And it's good. So Morton Anderson, who last week was 1 for 1, continues the streak. That was a 20-yarder last week, a 41-yarder this one. Saints on the scoreboard first. They lead it by a field goal.
This field goal was 41 yards. Morton Anderson was perfect last season from 40 yards and short. You take a look, it hits the crossbar, goes in, and Morton Anderson, he does that every day, but his coaches are pretty happy about it.
Anderson gets a pretty good foot in this one as he's back in the end zone. Stamps decides to bring it out. And Sylvester Stamps. There's a flag on the play, but Sylvester Stamps showing good decision-making on that play as he takes it across the 25. A 31-yard return, stopped by Toy Cook. And the signal goes against Atlanta. Atlanta goes 1 step forward, 2 back with the penalties.
Well, you're looking at this next series for Atlanta. They're going into the baseball infield. Very difficult to run.
Holding on the return, number 58, 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's very difficult to run in that baseball infield, so you'll probably see the passing game and the running game go towards the left of the offense for Atlanta.
And the signal to call against number 58, Tuggle. So the Falcons starting deep in their own territory. 1st and 10 at their own 10. Pitch goes back to James Primus, and Primus finds a little room along the left side before being run out of bounds at about the 18-yard line. Antonio Gibson on the stop. James Primus, a rookie out of UCLA, getting the start.
They spent a lot of time with Gaston Green out at UCLA. This is his first start. He's replacing John Settle. Big opportunity for him to share some time with Gerald Riggs.
Gain of 7 on the play. 2nd and 3, ball marked at the 17. And Miller, play action. And Miller having to scramble. He can run well. And Miller slides out of bounds near the marker. We'll find out if that's enough for the first down. For an NFL update, let's check in with Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, James, the Giants strike first in their big one against the 49ers. Steve Young fumbles it away. Sims to Manuel. The extra point is good. Giants 7, Niners nothing. Back to Atlanta and James Brown.
All right, Brent, that's going to be an awesome game up there between the Giants and the Niners indeed.
Well, the Giants coming off that big Monday night victory have to generate a little more offense against the 49ers if they're going to beat them. One of the things that defensively you have to watch out when you're going against a young quarterback who probably likes to get out of the pocket sooner than you like.
So Chris Miller's run to the sidelines
as reported as an eligible player
was not enough for the first down. He slid out of bounds, and Gary, most people might have thought that his feet were far enough to have accomplished the first down, but the ball governs on that play when you slide with your feet forward.
But the smart thing is he slid. He didn't try to take a hit by Pat Swilling. He wouldn't last in the game very long if he did it.
Second-year player showing the 10th-year veteran's understanding. So it'll be 3rd and inches for the Falcons. 8:48 remaining. Falcons trail by 3. This is Gerald Riggs. He's got the first down and more. So Gerald Riggs, 7th-year running back out of Arizona State, whom the players and coaches say is running as well as he's ever run.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you have a few inches to go and you have a 235-pound back, you've got to give him the ball. The offensive line, the left side, does a good job. Primus does a good job of blocking there, and it's an easy first down.
And Gerald Riggs, Mr. Reliable, fumbles once every 56 carries. That's Mr. Dependable. 1st and 10 for the Falcons. Ball at their own 24. This is Stacey Bailey in motion. Miller back to pass. And overthrew his intended receiver, Floyd Dixon. Dixon can jump, but not quite that high.
I'll tell you what, he threw it really bad that time. They blitzed Swilling on the play. I think that's one thing we're going to see a lot of today are the outside linebackers, Ricky Jackson, Pat Swilling, number 56, coming in. They were openly critical of the fact that they weren't able to blitz last week. They want to see if they can rattle a young quarterback.
Felt they were playing too conservative, that being Swilling and Jackson. They want to go after the young quarterback of Atlanta. And Chris Miller is faced with a 2nd and 10. Ball marked on the Falcons 24. 8:08 remaining in the first. This is Riggs going left. And Gerald Riggs tackled out of bounds by Vaughn Johnson, one of the talented linebacking core for the Saints.
That was kind of a different formation defensively. They put Swilling in a 3-point stance like it was a defensive end. So they're playing a 4-3 rather than a 3-4. He's out there at the top of your screen. Played it at Georgia Tech, played defensive end. Gets cut. They get outside of him. But Vaughn Johnson does a good job escaping a block and making the tackle.
Brings up a 3rd and 6. 4 wideouts in for the Falcons. Gerald Riggs, the lone back. He's got a good set of hands. Chris Miller. Hands off to Riggs. And Riggs takes it forward to the 35-yard line. Maxie Brett in on the stop. And it's good enough for the 1st down. So Gerald Riggs, the reliable running back, gives Atlanta the 1st down.
You're behind the offensive line. You got everybody spread out. You give it to Gerald Riggs. He has to find a hole. He does. Gets away for the 1st down. It's one of the problems for the New Orleans Saints today because when you go on that 3rd down with 4 wide receivers, you spread everybody out and he just has to find a crack.
1st and 10, ball at Atlanta's 35, 7:27 in the 1st quarter remaining. This is Riggs again, and Riggs picks up about two yards. Now Riggs that time ran to the right side, but he prefers to go inside on his cuts.
I'll tell you what, when you have a guy that big, you just want to find him a crack. You don't want him to have to search around for a hole. But again, as I mentioned, he's running towards the infield. And I think psychologically, if you're an offense or defensive player, you don't want to go into the baseball infield because you don't think you're going to get the footing that you need to make the cuts.
Gerald Riggs, see his numbers, 5 rushes for 18 yards. 2nd down and 7. Ball on the 38 of the Falcons. Out of the eye. Riggs, the ball carries straight ahead. Maybe a yard.
Well, they're running right into the teeth of the New Orleans Saints defense. They feel that they can put people inside, block up, create a lot of congestion, and force runners to go outside where they think with the speed of their linebackers they can get there and stop them from a big game.
It's also the thinking of the coaching staff that with the 2-back offense, that will preserve Riggs a bit more and certainly make him fresher.
Well, so far today, he's getting the ball an awful lot, and I expect him to see it that way the rest of the game.
Nickel defensive package for the Saints. Falcons faced with a 3rd and 5. Ball on their own 40. 3 wides to the right. Miller looking for Bailey. He's got him. 1st down for Atlanta. Reggie Sutton, cornerback, on the stop for New Orleans. A 15-yard
They had 3
pickup.
wide receivers at one side of the ball in the infield, and at the top of the screen, Bailey was all by himself, one-on-one against Reggie Sutton. Plenty of protection, good throw, and the Atlanta Falcons are now 3 for 3 in 3rd down conversion. That's a very important stat for them throughout the day.
Atlanta is in New Orleans territory. Ball on the 45 of the Saints. Stacey Bailey. Chris Miller said he is my favorite receiver. Play action. Miller going up top, looking for Dixon. He's got him. Miller to Dixon. 27-yard play, run out of bounds at the 17 of New Orleans.
Chris Miller gets plenty of protection on this play action fake. Freezes the linebackers a little bit. And they're running a crossing pattern behind the zone. Nice throw. Dixon gets behind the linebackers here for the 1st down and more. I'll tell you what, this is one very confident second-year player.
Marion Campbell says he likes his poise. 1st and 10, ball at the 17 of the Saints. And the reverse, this is Dixon. And Dixon does not make it back to the line of scrimmage. Excellent play and coverage by Pat Swilling.
Let me tell you, a good defensive team does not allow reverses to happen. And you're going against one of the better teams in the NFL on defense. They've smelled out the play. It took a little bit longer to develop than I think the Falcons would have liked. And those linebackers did a good job of staying disciplined, staying where they should, and making the play.
A loss of 1 on the play. Brings up 2nd down. Stacey Bailey in motion. This goes back to Primus, and Primus with the spinning move. Hit hard by that hard-hitting defense of New Orleans.
I'll tell you one thing, you learn pretty quick. He's a rookie. Made a nice spin move, but he really got stuck. And I think you start learning that you can't use some of the moves he used in college to do it.
And there is a flag on a play on the far side of the field. Let's listen to Dick Hantak.
Offside. Defense, number 56. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
Well, that'll help the Falcons.
You don't want to give him new life, and that certainly gave him a big break there. 5 free yards.
An impressive sustained drive by the Falcons. Their 12th play of this drive. Places the ball at the 12 of the Saints. Bringing up 2nd and 5. Miller back to pass. Looking for Dixon. Instead, he finds across the middle for the touchdown, Ken Wisenhunt. A 12-yard touchdown strike from Miller to Wisenhunt.
Taking a play from the 49er playbook of last week. Wisenhunt catches a nice play. He gave an out move and then turned it up for a nice touchdown. He knew he was going to get wrapped, too. He really knew it. He saw the safety coming over at him, but he made a sure catch for the touchdown. Last week, San Francisco's John Frank had an all-pro day against this Saints defense.
Greg Davis, the replacement player with a good veteran-like foot, gives the Falcons the first touchdown of the afternoon, and they lead it by 4 over the Saints. 39, Atlanta with that touchdown from Miller to Wisenhunt, lead it 7-3. And Wisenhunt, the 4th-year tight end out of Georgia Tech, playing before some local fans with an excellent route that you appreciated.
Well, they played man-to-man on the and bump and run on the outside, and the tight end came free in a nice move.
Greg Davis kicking off for the Falcons, gets a high one, but a short one. Taken at the 10-yard line by Mel Gray. And Gray takes it up to the 25-yard line. So the Saints will start at their own 26-yard line to stop on a play by Jesse Tuggle. Saints will have it when we come back. Matt Vielander.
Well, Lendl's going for his 4th straight, and I guess they were right, whoever seeded it. Vielander being 2 and Lendl being number 1.
Bobby Hebert, 4 of 4 for 55 yards on the afternoon. 1st and 10, ball to the 26 of New Orleans. The handoff to Hilliard, and Hilliard straight ahead, flag on the play. Hilliard up to the 29-yard line, but it'll be negated as the signal is against New Orleans. And New Orleans last season so effective in minimizing turnovers, hurting today.
Offense, number 72, holding, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down, 1st down.
Well, last week, the New Orleans Saints lost 2 guards on the right side. They lost DePillo, lost Gilbert, so they have Joel Hilgenberg playing over at the right guard. And I think they've got to be concerned a little bit because they haven't established the tempo that they wanted to coming to this game.
Guilty party that time that Jim Mora was thinking about was Jim Dombrowski. Hebert back to pass. Gets Hilliard out of the backfield. Hilliard back up near the original line of scrimmage to about the 27-yard line. Joel Williams, inside linebacker, on the stop.
Hilliard had a great game last week. Good pass receiver as well as he demonstrated there. I think they're going to try to show that these linebackers, if they're going to blitz from the Falcons, see whether or not they can do it quick enough without giving it away so Hebert or Bobby can pick them apart.
2nd and 8 for the Saints. Ball marked at their own 28. 2 receivers to the right, play action. Hebert under pressure, had to get rid of it. And applying the pressure was the rookie, Andre Bruce.
Number 1 draft choice, 6'5", 250 pounds, comes blitzing in here. He's got 4.5 speed. Just got outside Hilgenberg, couldn't make the block, puts the pressure. Hebert was looking to get that away.
The rookie, nicknamed Drago, with a character in Rocky IV. Big, strong defensive player.
Well, take a look at that neck collar he's got. My God, that thing, you've got to be 250 pounds to carry that kind of neck collar on your neck.
4 wideouts in for the Saints on 3rd down, 3rd and 9. Ball on their own 28. Hebert back to pass. Great defensive play as the intended receiver was Eric Martin, but give Scott Case the credit. 5th-year cornerback out of Oklahoma. Batted that ball down.
Well, this is his first start for Scott Case. It's man-to-man coverage. You see there, the ball was a little late getting there because that pass was actually open.
Ryan Hansen in to punt for the Saints. Back deep, Aubrey Matthews. And Hansen pushes Matthews back to the 30, his own 30. He's juking and crawling and gets to the 39.
Crawling is illegal in the NFL, but if I saw Ricky Jackson about to level me, I think I'd crawl too.
A 42-yard punt, 9-yard return. Atlanta will take over when we come back. Here in partly sunny Atlanta, Fulton County Stadium. Got a good ball game on our hands in the first quarter between the Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints. Atlanta with the first touchdown of the afternoon, leading it by 4, 3:16 remaining in the first. And it's been raining here the past couple of days, but it's gotten a little humid today anyway.
Well, the sun came out. Now it's going to be very muggy during the rest of this day. And we had to resort to getting these fans over here. Take a look at here, a nice little guy. Robo fan. He's really helping us out this afternoon.
With red eyes indeed and a red jersey carrying the ball on a play. That time, James Primus. Big pickup, and the rookie out of UCLA trying to make the most of his starting assignment today.
Take a look at our little Robo fan here. I don't know how much he costs, but he's doing a great job. We've got 2 of them. And they're really keeping us kind of cool on an otherwise muggy day.
That's the most important thing. It looks pretty, but more importantly, it's effective. A pickup of 6 by the rookie, James Primus, brings up a 2nd and 4. Ball on the 45 of Atlanta. Stacey Bailey in motion. Play action. Miller back to pass with time. And a low pass. Intended receiver was Floyd Dixon. But Miller, you got to be impressed, looking very poised in the early going for the Falcons.
Well, we mentioned that Marion Campbell was very impressed with his sense of calm on the field. And I was talking to Mike Ken, their left tackle, and he said this guy doesn't act like a second-year player. He's very talented, sees the field well, and very cool and calm, which is exactly what you want in a young quarterback, or for that matter, any quarterback.
Most important statistic for Marion Campbell, the Falcons 3 of 3 on 3rd down conversions. They've got a 3rd and 6 here. Nickel defense in by the Saints, and a timeout called by Ricky Jackson, something he saw he didn't like, and he rushed up to signal a timeout quickly.
They had a formation where they had 3 wide receivers on one side and just 1 wide receiver working on 29, Reggie Sutton. I think I don't know if they didn't have their blitz pickup, their blitz adjustments down or what, but it's a smart play.
Well, it could very well have been. It looked like there might have been 12 players on the field as well, and Ricky Jackson, the alert guy, said, hey, we don't need another penalty.
Well, if you can get away with it, you want to keep them on, but normally you don't.
Didn't want to try the officials early on when usually they're the most alert.
I think Mary Campbell right now has to be very pleased with the way this game's going. Didn't want to fall behind early in this game, and they've really got this rivalry that does exist between the city of New Orleans and Atlanta going.
Rebuilding process here in Atlanta. The man spearheading that, the architect, Marion Campbell, trying to blend some veterans and new faces together. As a matter of fact, 16 of the 47 on the roster are new players, and you take a look at the breakdown there by way of the draft, free agency, and only one trade.
Somewhat of an uncharacteristic Marion Campbell team. He likes to go with veterans, but he realized this offseason that they just weren't going to get the job done and decided to rebuild.
He said if you get some good talent in here, especially young talent, play it. That's what he's doing with Chris Miller. Dime defensive package in for the Saints. 4 wideouts in for the Falcons. The Falcons call this their rocket package, but they hand off and don't pick up much on the play at all, perhaps a yard.
You can see Gerald Riggs slipped in that infield turf. It's just bad footing when you're in the infield in that dirt. You know, some of these baseball fields aren't bad, but it doesn't look as though anyone's going to get extremely good footing as long as you're on the dirt today.
As a former DB, what bothered you the most about playing on a baseball field as well?
Well, I'll tell you, any DB is paranoid. You're going to slip and fall in the dirt or not get good traction.
Rick Donnelly, last season's leader in punting, kicking high, short one. This is Brett Perryman. And make that Mel Gray instead, retrieving for the Saints. Coming up next week, some good football action here on CBS as we take a look back at yesterday. Florida State rebounding from that loss to Miami with a big win over Southern Mississippi. And Clemson perhaps looking ahead, still an impressive victory over Furman, but they looked ahead. They'll get their wish next week, a big matchup.
And it's at Clemson, a very difficult place to try to play a football game if you're from out of town.
Saints, 1st and 10, ball on their own 20, 1:53 remaining in the first quarter. Saints trailing by 4, 7-3. This is Hilliard out of the backfield. Good running room, and Hilliard with first down yardage and plenty more before being stopped by Brett Clark, an 18-yard gain by Dalton Hilliard.
Good side of the right side of the line, did a good job of blocking here, away from that infield, behind Hilgenberg, who's starting today at right guard, blocks out there. Boy, it's a big hole. Good block by 85, Hobie Brenner, to open up a big hole for Hilliard.
And out there with him as well was the big fella, Craig Hayward.
I'll tell you what, 260 pounds will give you a good lead block every time.
1st and 10 at the Saints 38. Ruben Mays going right at Andre Bruce, much as the Falcons expected.
But Jim Mora has 2 very good running backs, Dalton Hilliard and Ruben Mays. Keep those guys fresh all day. It makes it difficult for your defensive guys because you have quickness, you have strength, and they're also fresh.
Ruben Mays, of course, coming off of knee surgery last season, also had a contract hassle in the preseason, missed some time. Jim Mora says he is going to work him in quite a bit today. 2nd and 7. Hebert back to pass with time. Complete to Eric Martin. And Martin, forward progress will get him up near the 48-yard line.
That formation, they had 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, only 1 wide receiver. They snuck them underneath the zone. I think you're going to see a lot of that today. They really feel that this zone man defense that the Atlanta Falcon defense plays allows them that type of play, and they're going to do it quite a bit.
It's up near first down territory, but the officials are going to signal for a measurement here.
You know, Bobby Hebert feels that he's got 2 really fine tight ends. Really difficult when you have 2 good ones. They give an additional blocker, big blocker, additional holes for your running backs to find.
And it looks like the Saints perhaps 2 inches shy of the first down. We aren't the only ones warm here.
Well, they got fans on the sideline. I don't blame them. It's a warm and particularly muggy day here in Atlanta.
And they're carrying 40 pounds of pad in gear with them. 3rd and inches. Saints 1 of 3 on 3rd down conversions. Ball is marked at their own 47. Good blocking tight end in the game for the Saints, John Tice, but we'll have to see that action in just a few minutes because that's the end of the first quarter here in Atlanta. An NFC West Division battle. Right now, the Falcons are leading it 7-3.
Big team. And by Oldsmobile, who invite you to test drive a new Oldsmobile soon at your nearest Oldsmobile dealer.
Second quarter action about to get underway here in Atlanta. Falcons fans have something to cheer about. Atlanta on top 7-3. New Orleans has the ball right now. And the Saints have brought quite a few fans with them. We ain't the Aints no more. And their fan club called Who Dat. 3rd and inches. And this will be close. Craig Hayward was the ball carrier, but the official says that big body more than made the few inches necessary.
Well, it doesn't surprise anyone in this stadium or on TV to know that 45 is going to get the ball. 260 pounds and you need a few inches. Similar to what Gerald Ridge does for the Atlanta Falcons. And I found kind of funny there, the big guys do all the work on that. They go in the center and everybody's jumping around. It's always the DBs who have the sideline view to see whether or not, before the referee makes a decision, whether or not you can start walking off the field or whether or not you have to stay on the field for another series.
Craig Hayward on first down is out in a wide receiver position to the left. Lonzel Hill in motion. The lone back is Ruben Mays, and Mays is the ball carrier as Mays juking, looking for the hole. Takes it to about the 47-yard line.
Take a look at Jim Hannafin, the offensive line coach for the Falcons, talking to Mike Ken, trying to get their blocking schemes right. Ken's just wiping his face going, hey, I don't need to see anything like that. I know it's going to be a rough day.
Pickup of 6 on the play brings up a 2nd and 4. Hebert back to pass. Under pressure and is knocked down by Rick Bryan. And the Falcons recover. Give the credit to Rick Bryan, the big right end, recovered by Joel Williams.
Rick Bryan beats Dombrowski, and look, he's there so fast he doesn't know quite what to do. He just lifts it off Hebert's hand. Nice pickup by Joel Williams on the scoop, running for 6. This is Rick Bryan's first start. He's a contract holdout during the preseason. Didn't start last week, and you can see he makes a big play here.
But he's a happy camper now.
Looks a little tired on the sideline.
1st and 10 for the Falcons. Ball marked at the 43. Miller back to pass under pressure. Gets it off to Stamps. And Stamps picks up 3, taking it to the 40-yard line. And Gary, we talked about turnovers again. That theme holding true, at least in the early going.
Well, Atlanta's been on the wrong side of that turnover ratio for most of last year and last week. But today, so far, they're ahead. And it has a lot to do with why they're ahead in this game. Look at Rick Bryan. He looks as though he has some bruised ribs. Doesn't stop a big guy like that from playing, though.
Pick up a 3, 2nd and 7 for the Falcons. Stamps in motion. 2 receivers to the left. Play action. Looking downfield for Stamps. And Stamps, remarkable enough just to get under that ball, and that he had to make an adjustment on the route. Antonio Gibson providing close coverage.
Well, that was a good play action fake on that one. Miller could have run downfield. He had so much room in front of him, but he went deep, tried to get Stamps. Ball's well thrown, but it's a heck of a defensive play by number 27. That was one great play. You look at Miller, he cannot believe he's close, he's close. Oh, God, I almost had it. Has to be restrained by Gerald Ridge.
Antonio Gibson on the coverage. First USFL player to sign in the NFL. 4 wideouts in the rocket package for the Falcons on 3rd and 7. Ball on the 40 of the Saints. 12:40 remaining in the half. Falcons leading by 4. Miller back to pass. He's going to run it. Stays up and takes the hit. Van Jakes providing the pressure and the hit.
He's lucky that was Van Jakes, because if it had been one of those linebackers, he jumped up in the air, he might have been crushed right into that turf.
And Miller,
he wants to stay on that field. He does not want the field goal group to come in. He wants to go for that first down, and it looks like Marion Campbell and Rod Downhauer are going to go with him on this one.
Well, the players talking to the coaching staff, signaling that they want to go for it, and Campbell conservative by nature.
Hey, you talked to a lot of these guys. They were worried whether or not the young guys knew what this rivalry was all about. By the emotion you see on the field so far in this first and now the second quarter, it looks like they're getting the message early.
4th and 1. Short yardage formation. Riggs, play action. Going up top, and it's complete to Alex Higdon. Touchdown, Atlanta. So on 4th and 1, Chris Miller fakes the handoff to Gerald Riggs and goes to Alex Higdon.
Tell me this isn't one happy quarterback. They ran a hurry up because they weren't sure if they were going to go 3rd down or 4th down with the field goal. And it makes you a little nervous because it looks like New Orleans defense didn't get their act together. Let a tight end slip through wide open behind the secondary for what looked like an easy touchdown.
Alex Higdon caught his first pass last week, and that was good for a touchdown.
Touchdown.
He catches a pass today, and it's for a touchdown. Greg Davis, point after is good.
Boy, you hope on a play-action pass on 3rd and short that it works this well. Alex Higdon at the right part of your screen. No one takes him. They bite on Gerald Riggs. He gets behind everywhere. Dave Waymer's trying to get back there, but it's too late. The big guy, 6'5", rambling in for a touchdown. You don't think Marion Campbell's happy on this one? It works just like you draw it up on the playbook. Come on, run, get in there. Woo-hoo! That's a big body getting up in the air, isn't it? And this guy is a winner.
A dangerous tight end Higdon is indeed, and the Falcons lead it. Ohio State, Alex Higdon, first catch last week and this week, both for touchdowns. This is Mel Gray for the Saints. And Mel Gray dropped at the 27-yard line. It's been a battle of the quarterbacks here. Bobby Hebert, impressive statistics. Chris Miller, a little better for 2 touchdowns and turnovers. New Orleans, the tail of the theme we talked about at the top. 2 turnovers, Atlanta capitalizing. Atlanta leads at 14-3. Now, this young quarterback, Chris Miller, the veterans really have a lot of confidence because he's displayed a take-charge attitude.
Well, Marion Campbell also has a great deal of confidence in him, and so far today, you're finding out why.
Saints will start from their own 28 with 11:31 remaining in the half and trailing by 14. Hebert hands off to Ruben Mays, and Mays with plenty of room on the left-hand side. Mays with about a 9-yard pickup, just shy of the first down marker. As you take a look at that Chicago-Indianapolis game, Bears on top by 4. 2 winless teams. One, of course, will come out victorious today. Green Bay out in front early on, and Pittsburgh giving the Redskins a battle early on.
One of the things that the Atlanta Falcons now have is momentum, and it's one of the things that the New Orleans Saints didn't want to give them, but now they have. It's going to be a battle the rest of the day.
2nd and 1 for the Saints. Big blocking tight end John Tice from the University of Maryland is in. In motion, Lonzel Hill. And the handoff to Hilliard. Mike Gann on the stop.
They're spreading out the defense right now. They had Hayward out wide, and they're giving it to Hilliard, who told us yesterday that he likes to run in that one-back set, run inside, find the hole, low center of gravity, find daylight, and hopefully get a touchdown. That time, the defense for Atlanta did a great job. Linebackers came up. Mike Gann, number 76, did a good job of stuffing his man.
Good enough for the first down. Dalton Hilliard's run. Lonzel Hill and Martin to the right. This is Hilliard again, the ball carrier, and Hilliard with first down yardage plus. Brett Clark, the man to stop Hilliard from picking up more, but Dalton Hilliard with a 16-yard gain for a 2nd consecutive first down.
First quarter, New Orleans was hitting inside. Now they're running out of the I formation. You got a big 260-pound fullback with a nice lead block. But boy, there's good blocking all the way down that line.
5 carries for 41 yards, all in the first half for Dalton Hilliard. Saints in Falcons territory, 1st and 10. Ball on the 44 of Atlanta. This is Mays. Mays looking. Nowhere to go. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Robert Moore runs him out of bounds.
Defense did a good job of stretching out that play that time, but you can see New Orleans now is just running in Mays, giving him a few plays, putting in Dalton Hilliard, number 21, let him run a few plays. You can see on 1st down, neither defense is very proud of that statistic. Offenses have a go of it here early in this game.
2nd and 7 for the Saints. Ball at Atlanta's 41-yard line. Craig Hayward in a wide receiver position to the left. Lonzel Hill in motion. This is Mays. And Mays grabbed from behind but continues to go forward to about the 35, 36-yard line. A 4-yard gain. Marcus Cotton on the stop, but there is a flag on the play.
What they did on that play was they went in motion with one guy, brought the strong safety over.
And that'll be an automatic 1st down.
Brought the strong safety over, and there wasn't anyone there to contain.
Space man. Defense, number 51, 15 yards, 1st down.
Take a look at the right side of your screen here. Marcus Cotton, not trying to do this, but boy, he gets a good piece of that face mask. Falls off, gets injured on top of it.
And one of Marcus Cotton's own players fell on him. Let's hope it's not serious. We'll update you when we come back. One of Marion Campbell's prize rookies hurt on that last play.
Well, he had his own man fall on his ankle. Looks like his left ankle's a little sore as he's hobbling off the field. Before they got 2 good in the 1st and 2nd round. Marcus Cotton from USC in the 2nd, and Andre Bruce, both starting linebackers.
Saints threatening. 1st and 10. Ball at the Falcons 20. Hebert, the handoff to Hayward, and the load goes forward for 1st down yardage.
Baby, let me tell you something. 260 pounds, bend down, guys, because here he comes right into your screen. You're Brett Clark. You want to back up a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to back up because I don't really want to see number 45 coming through. Arm tackle's no good. Look at Clark. Go low. You got to go low. That's a good tackle by a little guy. That's a heck of a tackle by 28, I think. I'll tell you, you can't win that battle many times. You got to hit low.
Looked like he had enough yardage for the 1st down, but he's going to be about 2 inches shy of the 1st down. I talked to Craig Hayward before the game, asked him about the adjustment from college to pros, and he says, JB, it's a lot easier than I thought. But when you're 260 pounds and you can run and move like him, I guess so. It doesn't make any difference what level you play on.
Hey, life's easy, I guess, when you weigh that much, huh? I'll tell you, this is a throwaway down. You can see a pass on this. You know that they can get it on 3rd and short if they should fail.
2nd and inches. Craig Hayward, 4 carries, 14 yards. Hayward and Hilliard, the backs. Play action. Hebert decides to keep it himself, and he's not going to make it. He slips in the backfield.
Well, I said it was a throwaway down, but I didn't mean literally. I think Bobby was looking to hand off to somebody, and no one wanted the pill.
Well, not to prejudge here, but, well, it looked as if he slipped in the backfield, but apparently he slipped forward just enough to get the 1st down.
It looks to me like somebody was supposed to get this ball. And I think it might have been number 45 Hayward, who then turns around. Hey, I'll take it late. Just give it to me. Don't worry.
To an eligible position. Number 70.
James Brown along with Gary Fensick here in Atlanta. The Saints and the Falcons looking for the 1st win of the season. Right now the Falcons on top by 14, but the Saints in the red zone as Craig Hayward tries to go straight ahead. That time the defense hit him low like you suggested.
You've got to. He's just too big a load. Maybe the big guys up front can do it, but if you're a DB, you've got to hit that guy low and let him fall over you. Falcon defense right side does a great job here. Hayward gets it. It's just a lead play. Nice stick. Grady, Joel Williams. This is a fired-up Falcon defense today, believe it. You know, I thought maybe that was a choreographed play because during the preseason in Pittsburgh, he ran into Bobby Hebert and then ran through the line for about 50 yards and a touchdown. But I think he just missed a handoff on that second down play.
So Morton Anderson will attempt a 29-yard field goal. It's up and it's good. So the NFL's leading scorer last season is good on that kick. New Orleans trails by 8. Primus tries to leap over Vaughn Johnson, and Johnson stood up ever so slightly and made the tackle with his back.
I told you it was going to be difficult to play in the dirt. You kind of like the fact that everybody's getting dirty. But Vaughn Johnson, inside linebacker, man-to-man coverage. He slips, loses his balance. But boy, you got to be resourceful. Watch this. Oh, right over my back. And I still get credit for that tackle, even though I didn't even have to use my arms or my shoulder.
Good athletic move and alert move by Johnson. Still first down for the Falcons. Ball at their own 31. 5:44 remaining in the half. Falcons on top, 14-6. Miller with plenty of time. Intended receiver was Ken Wisenhunt, but off of his fingertips.
Real good coverage that time by the secondary and the linebackers for New Orleans. You're a quarterback, what would you see on that play? Chris Miller dropping back, good protection, good sight downfield, but very good coverage by everybody from the Saints defense. Tries to throw to Wisenhunt, his tight end, just a little outstretched.
Miller doing a good job, though. 8 of 10 for 105 yards. 6 different receivers. He spread the ball around. 2nd and 10. This is Sylvester Stamps in motion. And John Settle, the fullback, gives the Falcons the first down. A 13-yard gain by John Settle, who last week was starting, moved to a backup role this week.
Again, we gave you the quarterback earlier. Watch Settles. Goes off the block of Dukes, number 64, does a good job. Big hole. Free as a bird into the secondary. This is what the running backs want. Nice tackle by 27, Antonio Gibson. They're mixing up their plays real well, and Gerald Riggs was not in the lineup on that one, giving him some rest.
Settle and Primus in the backfield for the Falcons. Ball at their own 44, 1st and 10. This is Settle again, and Settle takes it up near the 50, a pickup of 5+.
You know, I think the pace of this game has really gone the Falcons' way. They didn't want to have a lot of bombs thrown. They didn't want to have a high-scoring game because they don't know just how good their offense can be, so they want to keep it close. And when you have 2 touchdowns in the first half, you got an 8-point lead. They've got control of this ball game right now, and it's not a good situation, obviously, for the Saints to be in.
I asked you if Settle might feel bad about being pulled from a starting position, but you said something interesting about the mindset. 2nd and 4. Ball at midfield, 4:10 remaining in the half. And in and out of the hands, Chris Miller's intended receiver was Floyd Dixon.
One of the things we talked yesterday to some of the Saints players about was whether or not they're going to blitz more. And while they don't tell you exactly, I think you could see that they had their ears pinned back when they were talking to you. Ricky Jackson just blitzed then. I think that the Falcons must be anticipating that those outside backers are going to come because they're throwing very quick passes. They're not going to put that quarterback in a position where he has to look downfield for a long time.
Dime defensive package in for the Saints on 3rd and 4 for the Falcons. The Falcons 3 of 5 on 3rd down conversions. 4 wideouts in for Atlanta. Miller going up top, looking for Bailey. Just beyond the outstretched hands of Stacey Bailey.
Oh, and he knew he had him too because they had 3 wide receivers. Bailey was all by himself. They took a long count so that the quarterback could really see that that was man-on-man, the cornerback on the line of scrimmage, a safety deep in the hole, and it was going to be one-on-one on a fly pattern. He just almost completed it, but it doesn't count.
2 of the NFL's best. Rick Donnelly, best in the NFL punting, 44-yard average. Mel Gray, best in the NFL last season with returns of 14.7. And Donnelly barely gets it away, but gets a beauty. And Gray takes it at his own 1. And is dropped at the 11. A 9-yard return on a 48-yard punt by Rick Donnelly. So Donnelly certainly keeping his average high. The stop by Jesse Tuggle.
Well, Hebert can't be very happy. The field position so critical in any football game. Gray caught that ball on the 1-yard line and only got it out beyond the 10.
Tough situation in terms of field position. What does a quarterback do here, Gary?
Well, he's been there so many times before, but I think what they were doing is establishing the running game in the second quarter with 2 tight ends, just kind of going outside a little bit, punching inside, going outside with the speed of Reuben Mays.
3:45 remaining in the half. Saints trailing 14-6. Ball, the 11-yard line. Hebert. And definitely a catchable ball for Eric Martin.
Well, you know, Eric Martin knows that as well. He caught 7 passes last week against the 49ers. A little over anxious because they had the situation just like they wanted it. Man-on-man coverage. Might have been a loose zone. Slant pattern, catchable ball with the free safety coming over. They only have 1 wide receiver in that game right now. 2 tight ends, 2 backs, and Martin the only wide receiver.
Martin 1 catch for 6 yards today. Martin comes wide to the right at the bottom of your screen. 2nd and 10. Pitch goes back to Dalton Hilliard. And Hilliard turning on the afterburners, but not able to gain much. Scott Case on the stop. And Gary, I tell you, it seems to me like you would have to be a member of the Secret Service to understand the various formations that a team has, and New Orleans certainly has as many as any.
James, all you got to do is know how to play cards. Flush, queens, ace, regular, jacks, clubs, 10s. At 4 wide receivers is flush, and so far they've been running these last couple series a lot of 2 tight ends, 2 running backs. So which one is that?
All you have to do is play cards, huh?
Yeah, it's 10s formation. It's not ace, it's 2. It's 10s formation.
You caught it. 3rd and 7. Ball on the 14 of New Orleans, out of the shotgun. And Martin holds on to this one, but he'll be shy of the first down. Bobby Butler, although slight of build, delivers a powerful hit.
Tell you what, so far the Atlanta Falcons, they must have the joker in the deck because they're taking all those formations and they're just saying, hey, we can stop whatever you've got. A lot of confidence on that Atlanta team, especially on the defense, I think, right now.
Butler, 8th-year veteran out of Florida State, 5'11", only 175. Brian Hansen, to take a look at that left ankle of his, taped a little bit. He's had problems with ankle injuries in the preseason and in the offseason. Coaching staff was a little concerned about his plant. Aubrey Matthews back deep for the Falcons. From his own 4, Hansen gets away a decent kick. Matthews fumbles the ball, and New Orleans recovers. So a major mistake by Aubrey Matthews gives the Saints the ball back. Michael Adams, the alert cornerback, recovers the fumble.
Boy, there didn't seem to be anything at all unusual about that.
And we'll see if New Orleans can capitalize with 1:53 remaining in the half.
Doesn't lick this ball in, it goes right through his body. But I'll tell you what, this is a heck of a fumble recovery by number 40, Michael Adams. It's not easy to get that. We were talking earlier at the top of the show about how critical turnovers would be, and so far it's 2-2. And every team last week who had more takeaways and giveaways won. So far, even Steven, great opportunity here for the New Orleans Saints to get a score before halftime.
2 wide receivers to the right for the Saints. Hilliard and Hayward in the backfield. This is Hilliard. And a flag is thrown on the play as Hilliard tries to find some room along the left side of the line. Tony Casillas on the stop.
Ricky Bryan saying it's a false start by the offense. Of course, defensive players never think it's against them.
Players love to help the officials.
Who's that? I'll tell you what, that's a guy who had a rough day. Halloween's over.
Offense, number 85, illegal motion, 5-yard penalty, repeat the down, first down.
That was a very appropriate question for that fan. Who that? New Orleans 4 for 25. Atlanta only 2.
Atlanta's playing pretty good football right now. Got control of the game, but the defense has to come up with some big plays here to prevent the Saints from scoring.
1st and 15 for the Saints. Ball at the 49 of New Orleans. 1:49 remaining in the half. Lonzel Hill in motion. 3 wideouts. This is Hilliard. Hilliard straight ahead. And the little fellow runs hard, takes it up to the 42-yard line. So a pickup of 7 before being stopped by Brett Clark.
They're stretching that defense out. Took Hayward, split him out wide. And Dalton Hilliard told us he loves to run that one-back offense. Man-on-man blocking. Just find a seam somewhere. Good low center of gravity. Brett Clark comes up and makes a nice open field tackle.
Dalton Hilliard, 7 for 54 this afternoon in the first half. Eric Martin in motion on 2nd and 5. Play action over to Hilliard, and the ball hits the ground. Pass too low from Bobby Hebert. So that'll bring up a 3rd and 5 with 1:10 remaining in the half. Gary, you mentioned about Dalton Hilliard loving to run out of that one-back set. Why is that?
They said that he just has a better view of things, and I think sometimes a running back really doesn't know why he likes it. It's just a feel thing. He knows one thing, though. He has a hard time running behind number 45, Craig Hayward, because he just can't see the guy, or he can't see where the hole is when you have to look through a 260-pound fullback.
3rd and 5. The Saints only 2 of 6 on 3rd down conversions with 4 receivers in it, and this is Eric Martin, and Martin with a big first down. Robert Moore on the stop.
Well, that was a good catch. Moore really popped him at the end, going into the hurry-up offense here with just 55 seconds left in the half.
14-yard pickup to the 26 of Atlanta. Out of the shotgun with the flush package in. Hebert with plenty of time. Throws it too quickly and low. Intended receiver, Lonzel Hill.
You know, I'm not sure the Falcons had enough players on the field. I think they might have tried to play that with only 3 down linemen instead of 4.
Obi Brenner, the big tight end for New Orleans, comes in.
Plenty of time here for a score one way or the other, but if you're in the Falcon huddle right now, you're screaming, come on, guys. Nothing more than 3 points here before the half.
And this is practice every day.
Every single day you go over this. DBs love it. It's 7-on-7.
2nd and 10. Hayward and Hilliard, the backs. This is Hilliard. Escapes one blocker. Spins, but only a yard gain.
I'll tell you what, Bobby Butler came through number 23 like it was a blitz.
Timeout.
Missed the tackle,
New Orleans.
but he definitely made that play.
Timeout. This is a 40-second timeout.
You look at Bobby Butler. He's one of the older veterans on this young Falcon defense. He knows what it's all about. He knows you got to strap up that helmet, pump it up a little extra when you play a big team like New Orleans. Not only is it a big rivalry that he's experienced for a number of years, but hey, you're the underdog. And boy, that gives you a little extra oomph, you know, when you're playing defense.
You see the timeouts remaining.
Take a look here. Just a handoff. They're going wide. Bobby Butler, I don't know how the heck a cornerback flies through like that on any defense, but he creates problems for Dalton Hilliard. He has to readjust. The rest of the guys come up and do the mop-up job. Good defense.
Speaking of mop-up, I've seen you in quite a few plays where you're lending your shoulder pads to the action.
Hey, I'll tell you what, you don't get many free shots like that. You got to give it everything you got. And Bobby Butler, even though he didn't make the tackle there, he made the play.
You heard the officials signal a 40-second timeout. That's much like the 20-second timeout in professional basketball. 3rd and 10. Ball on the 26 of Atlanta. 4 wideouts in. Hebert back to pass. Complete. First down. And the ball came loose. Apparently it's still alive. And somehow New Orleans recovers.
Well, we're talking about turnovers. I think there were just 2 on that one. Looked like Scott Case picked up the ball and then fumbled it. Oh my God, if you're a defense, if you're either coach right now, your stomach is sick.
Statisticians have to be awfully quick.
This was plenty of time for Hebert to find a receiver here. Good protection by his front people. Inside, looks like the ball did come out before, and I correct myself, it was Brett Clark. And Brett, you got to go down. Just get stripped by a wide receiver. That's going to be embarrassing tomorrow. Good pickup there by number 89.
That's Robert
Well,
Clark.
tied again. Robert Clark, heads-up player, second year.
Well, it may be exciting for the fans, but certainly not for the coaches. And that is not a smile of pleasure on the face of Jim Mora.
I got to tell you, I'm not sure that they didn't rule that ball dead on the first supposed fumble.
And it looks like this play is being reviewed upstairs. The replay official today is Jack Fett.
Pretty exciting stuff, though.
Play stands as ruled. First down, New Orleans.
Now, the nice thing, obviously, on that is that the replay took place awfully quickly, did not take any appreciable time away from the action.
Good job by the instant replay people. First down, change of possession, twice.
21 seconds remaining in the half. New Orleans trying to close the gap even more. They trail 14-6 to the Atlanta Falcons here in the first half. Been a good battle of quarterbacks. Atlanta, surprisingly, trailing in the possession category, but leading on the scoreboard. First and 10, ball at the 18 of Atlanta. The flush package for the Saints. Inside handoff to Hilliard.
Good tackle by number 28, Brett Clark on that one. Tried a quick little draw play with four wide receivers.
New Orleans, their
Really?
third timeout. This is a 40-second timeout.
And again, Gary, I mentioned a few seconds ago, that's new this year. Whenever there's not a television timeout, that when an official or make that a coach calls a timeout, it's a 40-second one.
A little quicker just means you can't run to the sideline and talk to your coaches as much as you'd like to. Everybody's kind of calm, cool, and collected. There are only 14 seconds. 14 seconds left in this first half, and if you're a defensive coordinator, Marion Campbell, what do? I guess I wouldn't really blitz. I'd take the chance that, these guys only have a few plays left, maybe one or two at the most three. They're going to have to earn it the hard way. I'm going to play some zone defense. I could live with 3 points, but I don't want them to get 7 to make it a one-point ball game as we go into halftime.
So stay conservative.
Well, I don't know if that's conservative. It doesn't necessarily mean because you're playing zone you're conservative. It just means that you don't want somebody to get beat outright if they don't cover their man for man.
Second and 7, 14 seconds remaining. Saints on the Falcons 14. Touchdown, New Orleans. Eric Martin. And if you thought you were in New Orleans, no, this is Atlanta, but New Orleans has brought a sizable contingent here, and it sounds like they're at home cheering.
A lot of people here today for the New Orleans Saints. Pretty happy with what they're seeing here at the end of the first half.
And Morton Anderson has just broken a consecutive streak of point afters of 71. That missed point after leaves the Saints 2 points shy of the Falcons.
The Atlanta Falcon defense had exactly what they wanted. They doubled the inside guy. Bobby Hebert still threw it to him. He beat 2 guys here for a touchdown. See, take a look at, again, number 84. They're faking the blitz. Case inside, Brett Clark outside. He beats Case. Perfect throw, perfect catch. And boy, here's a freak of nature. Morton Anderson missing an extra point. Hits that upright. He got lucky in the first quarter when he hit the upright for 3 points and a field goal. This time, not so lucky. Misses an easy chip shot.
And Eric Martin, who had dropped the pass earlier, certainly had some figurative stickum on his
I'll tell you what,
hands
if you're
that
Marion
time.
Campbell, you can't be very happy. He faked the blitz, double-teamed the inside guy. Bear read it wrong, threw to the inside guy, Martin, and he still caught the ball for a touchdown. That's very frustrating for any defensive coach. Call the right play, your players don't execute it properly.
Anderson got a lot of foot in that play, and Stamps decides wisely not to take it out of the end zone. And the Falcons will have 8 seconds on the game clock.
Well, James, what would you do? You throw a bomb here, or go unhappy that you're up 14-12?
Now, you know, I'm certainly going to say that Marion Campbell ought to stay with what
Please return the game clock to 10 seconds, please.
what philosophically has been his approach, and that's to stay conservative. And you hear the official, Dick Hantak,
Thank you.
indicating to take the clock back to 10 seconds. 2 seconds had ticked off of the clock.
They just gained 2 more. That'll get 10 seconds. Don't even have 8.
Still stay conservative.
You think so? Yeah, I think they're very happy where they're at right now. And that was with a 2-point lead.
And it's a running play as Settle goes straight ahead up to the 25-yard line. A pickup of 5, but that'll do it. So the Atlanta Falcons. Morris certainly has done the job in his 3rd year here. This is Morton Anderson kicking off back deep for the Falcons. Sylvester Stamps takes it on his own 1 across the 20. And a big hit applied, but Stamps somehow was able to spin out of that and pick up an extra couple of yards. So a 20-yard return by Sylvester Stamps.
In the first half, Jamie Dukes, number 64, had replaced John Scully. I don't know if there was an injury or whether or not they just are taking Scully out, but it is a change in the Atlanta offensive line. This is an unusual stretching pattern for Gerald Riggs. Trying to straighten that back out. I think it's a little tight.
Atlanta takes over in their own 21. 1st and 10. Miller back to pass on 1st down, and it's complete near the 1st down marker. Floyd Dixon. And Dixon has had his troubles in the first half holding on to some passes, not there.
Did a nice job of catching the ball, made it a nice adjustment because they blitzed the strong safety, number 27, Gibson, on that one. Nice read by Chris Miller, nice pattern, 2nd and short. This is one of the things that they have to do, is have success on 1st down. They did it in the first half, and they're starting out the second half in the same way.
8-yard pickup, bringing up 2nd and 2. This is Primus. Primus, slashing runner, and a late flag. Hantak arguing with Brett Maxey.
Unsportsmanlike defense, number 99, with a kick after the ball's dead, 15 yards, 1st down.
Tony Elliott, the culprit. Jim Mora not liking the way things are starting in the second half. And Atlanta will use that penalty to get even better field position. Ball moved up to the 48-yard line of the Falcons.
There's a young number 1 pick. Drago's his nickname. I'll tell you what, he's got the haircut. 6'5", 250 pounds. I guess he'll give every team he faces in the NFL the type of trouble that Drago did in Rocky.
This is James Primus. And Primus running hard. Rookie out of UCLA. Had a chance to take a lot of notes from Gaston Green.
I'll tell you what, when you allow a running back to turn and go north-south, he's going to get some yards. And if you look here, he gets the toss, nice lead block by 44, but he gets a hole, turns it north-south, there he goes. Yardage. And that's something that you can't allow from a defensive standpoint. You can't allow that guy to go north-south with his shoulders.
2nd and 5 for the Falcons. Just underway in the 3rd quarter. Stamps in motion. Miller under pressure from Ricky Jackson. Gets it away to John Settle. 1st down yardage, but the question is whether Miller was in the grasp.
And it looks as though they're saying that he was in the grasp, and Ricky Jackson came blitzing in on that play. We talked about Ricky Jackson and Pat Swilling wanting to blitz more. Jackson's there, good athlete, holds on. Does he have him? I think he's definitely got him. You start exposing that quarterback's shoulder pads, next thing you know, he's going to start exposing a lot more.
That's Jackson's first sack of the season. He and Swilling went scoreless or sackless last week against the 49ers. 3rd and 18 for the Falcons. Settle. Up to the 45. Ball is dead. So that'll bring on a punting situation for the Falcons. Settle only able to get 5 of the 18 yards back.
That time the New Orleans Saints defense did a good job of anticipating that draw play. Settle's a good runner, but he's not the threat that Gerald Riggs is when he's in the lineup. Ray last time caught the ball on the 1-yard line in the first half. Everybody's got to get a little cobwebs out of themselves as they enter into the regular season. I don't think we'll see him do that very often this season.
His last return was for 11 yards. And Donnelly barely gets that one away. A high, short punt that takes a Falcons bounce, or make that a Saints bounce.
I don't know what the special teams were doing on that play. Reggie Sutton, number 29, came in, but nobody downed the ball as it was coming back towards the Falcon offensive line of scrimmage. Football League and Rick Donnelly, but look at number 41 for the Falcons, Tim Gordon, who has to fan out, and he has to take 29, Reggie Sutton. He doesn't do it, and this almost was fully blocked, but certainly was partially blocked. It leads to a 3-yard net punt for the Atlanta Falcons. Big break for New Orleans.
1st and 10 for the Saints. Ball on the 48 of Atlanta. And Bobby Hebert, frustrated that his players don't know the formation and has to waste the timeout.
Obviously, somebody doesn't know their card formation very well.
Timeout.
Saying flush, and somebody must have been thinking he was saying Queens or something. Bobby Hebert was pretty wise there. No sense in starting off the second half here with a bad formation.
It'll be doubleheader week here on CBS next week. Many of you will see New Orleans and Detroit. Minnesota, Chicago, that'll be a big one. And Philadelphia and Washington. Randall Cunningham looking strong after week 1. In the second half of our doubleheader, the New York Giants will travel to Dallas. And these very same Falcons will travel to San Francisco. All starts with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern time next week, right here on CBS.
I don't think anybody's really worried about those games right now. This is a good one. Saints have excellent field position, something they really didn't have in the first half.
Craig Hayward, Dalton Hilliard, the backs. Hilliard split out as a wide receiver at the bottom of your screen. Lonzel Hill in motion. Quick pass to Eric Martin. And Martin picks up about 3 on the play.
Good job there by the defense. Rick Bryant coming out all the way from the right defensive end position.
And a little help from Michael Reed. The backup linebacker replaced the injured Marcus Cotton.
Got to worry a little bit when you have a second-year player, didn't really think, not mentally into the game, because he doesn't think he's going to start, and I'm sure he'll get tested today in the second half.
2nd and 7 for the Saints. Hilliard. And the Saints keeping the ball on the ground. Hilliard ahead for about 2. That'll bring up a 3rd down.
Marcus Cotton isn't even on the sideline here. So it looks as though young Michael Reed, a second-year player out of Wisconsin, is going to have to do the job for the Falcon defense on that right side.
11:10 remaining in the 3rd quarter. 3rd and 5 for the Saints. They go to their flush package. Out of the shotgun, Bobby Hebert. Complete to Martin. And Eric Martin gives the Saints a first down, run out of bounds by Scott Case.
Well, in the first half, they were running inside patterns with this flush formation. Now they change it up. Scott Case covering man-to-man, and you're going to see a little push-off here. Nice little push. Gives you an easy route, first down for Eric Martin. Kind of frustrating as a defensive back. They're anticipating those in moves because they ran those in the first half. Now, of course, they made some adjustments. They said, hey, we'll give you a little change up here. We're going to run some outs from the guy who's inside on that 4 wide receiver formation.
Saints in Falcon territory, specifically the 29s. Hayward out left. This is Hilliard, the ball carrier. And Hilliard with daylight takes it inside the 20 to the 16-yard line. Joel Williams and Brett Clark on the stop.
Ran the counter play here with Hilgenberg coming over with Stan Brock. Hilliard likes to run out of this one-back offense. It's the Washington counter gap play. And boy, I'll tell you, that's a great blocking by the offensive line. But once it gets through there, low center of gravity, there wasn't anybody there to make the tackle.
11 carries, 72 yards on the afternoon for Dalton Hilliard. First and 10 for the Saints at the 17 of Atlanta. Saints trail by 2. And Atlanta will be signaled for offsides.
Encroachment, defense, number 75, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
When you're 6'3", 280 pounds, once you start moving forward, it's difficult to stop. And really, that's one of the few penalties that the Falcon defense has committed this afternoon.
Tony Casillas.
Pittsburgh with a big lead now, 19-10 over Washington in third quarter.
Troubles in D.C. First and 5. Ball on the 12 of the Falcons. Hayward stopped at the line of scrimmage. Andre Bruce in on the tackle with a little help.
Good job by Andre Bruce coming down from that left linebacking position, just closing it down, making the tackle. Pretty simple play going against the tight end. Tried to sucker him. He took it inside. Tight end tried to take an easy block, influence him outside. Instead, he just, I don't know if he stunned it, but he took it inside and made a nice play.
Brings up a 2nd and 5. Hayward in the slot. This is Ruben Mays. Mays trying to pick his hole. And it's signaled as a fumble by the Atlanta players. We'll wait for the official call.
The Saints still have the ball, they say. The fumble cannot be created by hitting the ground. Looks as though we might have an instant replay on this one, however.
Oh, Dick Hantack authoritatively signals New Orleans ball.
See the defensive guys yelling and screaming, hey, we think we should have it. You know, New Orleans here in the second half got good field position around the 50-yard line, has moved the ball pretty impressively on this drive. Nothing really fancy, 2 tight ends, only 1 wide receiver, 2 running backs, but they've done what they wanted to accomplish, not creating the penalties that they were really plagued with here in the first half.
Play stands as called, third down, New Orleans.
So it's 3rd and 3. Ball on the 10 of Atlanta. 8:56 remaining in the third. 14-12 ball game. Falcons on top.
Got to watch a fade pattern on this one.
4 wideouts. Hebert. Intended receiver was Robert Clark, but there's a flag on the play. And the call was on Robert Clark. Pushing off. Scott Case may not be one of the better known ones around the league as cornerback, but he's good.
Pass interference. Offense, number 81. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Take a look here. All the wide receivers are in tight. You can almost anticipate a fade pattern here. It wasn't Robert Clark who got called for this, but number 81. Boy, that's a costly penalty for the New Orleans Saints.
Well, I think Hantack made a mistake.
I do too. I don't know that they...
89 is
I
Robert
don't think
Clark.
they have an 81, do they?
They do not.
See, when those wide receivers are in tight around the numbers, you got to believe your defensive back, they want extra room to try to get the fade pattern for a touchdown.
High snap, but Anderson boots it through regardless. A 27-yard field goal by Morton Anderson. And New Orleans, not pretty, but effective as they take the lead. On the strength and the foot of Morton Anderson, the Saints take the first lead of the game, 15-14 over the Falcons. Anderson boots this one back in the end zone again. And Stamps wisely decides not to bring it out.
Looking at Joel Hilgenberg, his brother Jay played with me in Chicago, but Joel is playing right guard, but he also is a center snapper here on this field goal, which hit Hansen, the punter, right in the shoulder pad. It's not a good snap. Took off the timing. Anderson corrects it and doesn't have a strong kick over for a field goal, but nonetheless, it's good. Has not missed inside the 40s since 1986.
Joel Hilgenberg working double duty, normally a backup lineman, and at the starting right guard, as well as long snapping. 1st and 10 for the Falcons. Ball on their own 20. 8:24 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Falcons on top will make that trailing by 1. Miller. Pass too far in front for James Primus. Don't forget, coming up after NFL action today, it'll be U.S. Open Tennis Men's Final. Ivan Lendl going for his 4th consecutive U.S. Open title. We'll be doing battle against Mats Wilander. That'll be following football right here on CBS.
James, right now, I got to wonder why Gerald Riggs is on the sideline rather than in that game. I think he might have some tightness in his body or something, maybe a back problem.
We saw him stretching a few minutes earlier. 2nd and 10. Ball on the 20 of the Falcons. Out of the pro set. Stamps in motion. And Miller gets it away to John Settle. And Settle takes it for the 1st down. But an awful lot of pressure applied on Chris Miller by Pat Swilling.
Again, a young quarterback, they're putting pressure on him to see whether or not he makes the right decision. They put Stamps out in motion, sneak the fullback Settle through. Nice blocking by Freilich. Cutting off the pursuit by Vaughn Johnson. Opens up for a big game for him. But I tell you what, you got to be very impressed with this young 2nd-year quarterback. He's getting pressure and has to make quick decisions and is making the right one.
Not a big player, but Coach Campbell says he can take a shot. Doesn't want him to take too many. 1st and 10 for the Falcons. Bailey in motion. Ball at the 30 of Atlanta. Play action. Miller to Settle out of the backfield. And John Settle takes it up near the 1st down marker. There is a flag on the play.
This is going to be another 15 yards. Roughing the passer looks to be the call.
Personal foul. Rubbing the passer defense, number 94, 15 yards.
That's Jim Wilkes, right end. I think they came in with Swilly as well. After the play, boy, you got to really let that quarterback go these days. They blitz Swilling, comes in, plenty of time to throw, good protection by the line. And boy, he gave him a forearm to the throat. You're going to get 15 yards every time if you try that one. Now, you can argue, but he knows too. You know, he gave him an illegal hit. So I'm sorry, don't give me the 15, but they're going to do it every time.
6 penalties for 55 yards against the Saints. Falcons at the 45 of the Saints. 2nd and 1. Miller under pressure, having to run. Wisely gets out of bounds. As Jim Wilkes, one of wanted to put his number against the chest of Chris Miller.
Well, I'll tell you what, that time they came from the other linebacking position. Randy Jackson, 57. Ricky Jackson, 57 blitz. Elliott came in with good pressure, and Wilkes this time just pushed him out of bounds. Wasn't going to get another cheap penalty. But it looks as though Steve Sidwell, the defensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints, is going to put pressure on this kid in the second half, see whether or not Chris Miller can consistently beat a very cohesive and talented defense.
A loss on the play brings up 2nd and 15. Ball at the 49. Handoff to Settle. Settle's going nowhere. And the Saints defense fired up. Frank Warren on the stop.
Again, fool me once, fool me twice, but not a third time. They spread everybody out, tried to run that draw play. And I bet you those linebackers were calling off that play at the line of scrimmage before the ball was snapped. Good play by the interior line of New Orleans Saints on that play, along with Vaughn Johnson.
Brings up 3rd and long, 3rd and 15 to be exact, and Jesse Hester in the game for the first time for the Falcons. James Brown along with Gary Finsick here in Atlanta. The Falcons faced with a 3rd and 15 situation, 4 wideouts in. Miller, complete. Michael Haynes, the rookie out of Northern Arizona, helps the Falcons out of a big hole.
Again, the lone receiver to the left of your screen. Haynes makes an inside move. Sutton's there. Looked like a little contact perhaps before he actually caught that ball. Rubs him into the dirt. Here, have some of this, and it's 4th down.
Well, it was a big help, but not enough, as the Falcons are 2 yards shy of the first down. Rick Donnelly's in the punt for the Falcons. Back deep for the Saints, Mel Gray. And Dick Hantack signals a stop
Timeout.
in the action.
New Orleans, their 2nd timeout.
That's kind of a curious call there. It's not very often you're going to see a timeout call on a punt return. I would have almost expected Atlanta to be a little more concerned after almost having a blocked punt the previous possession. We're looking at Steve Sidwell, the defensive coordinator for the Saints, shored up his defense here in the second half, but I don't think anybody on that team is very happy with the way this game's been going.
Rick Donnelly in to punt for the Falcons. And Donnelly gets a butte up, a high one, but it's heading to the end zone. And the Saints will take over at their own 20. Last time these two teams met last year, the Falcons were blown out 38-0. And the first drive of the game, Saints quarterback Bobby Hebert with a 7-yard touchdown pass to Mike Jones to put the Saints up by a touchdown. 5 interceptions on a day thrown by Scott Campbell, then of the Falcons. Worst home shutout in Atlanta club history, 38-0 Saints. Falcons looking a lot better today, trailing by only 1.
Believe me, those kind of blowout games stay in your memory a long time, and I'm sure that the Falcons are aware of it, and they're playing off that emotion today.
1st and 10 for the Saints at their own 20. Hebert, play action. Decides to run it. Gets back near the line of scrimmage. Mike Gann on the stop.
They tried a counter screen pass on that one. Kind of difficult to describe that, but a lot of bodies going a lot of different ways. And the Falcon defense did a good job of smelling it out, forced Hebert to try to run the ball.
Dick Hantack signals a timeout on the field as Mike Gann is the injured player for the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, one thing we talked about, it's warm, it's very humid. It really takes its toll on the players on the field. Not a lot of wind down there to suck it up.
Saints scored the field under his own power. Good sign for the Falcons. 2nd and 9 for the Saints at their own 21. 5:24 remaining in the 3rd. Saints on top by 1. Play action by Hebert. Looking downfield, complete to Hobie Brenner, the tight end. And Brenner takes it out of bounds near the 45-yard line. A 24-yard pickup.
Well, I was looking after the play, and John Rady, the inside linebacker for the Falcons, is screaming and yelling at some young players. I think they blew a coverage on that one. Brenner came from the right side of your screen. He came just from the tight end position, got behind, and I think Andre Bruce probably took the wrong guy. Committed to a wide receiver instead of taking that tight end.
1st and 10 for the Saints at the 44, their own. Hayward and Hilliard in the backfield. This is Hilliard. And Hilliard, the little dynamo, fumbles the ball. Atlanta recovers. This is Bobby Butler.
Moore's going to lose some hair. He's going to go gray watching this game today. Dalton Hilliard has plenty of room to run. Cuts it inside. And he gets stripped of the ball as he's going down. Fumbles the ball. Case looks like he got it. And Bobby Butler picks up that ball and is on his way. Bobby Hebert, really the only guy back there, prevented that touchdown. Got him escorting Bob Moore right there. Big opportunity here for the Atlanta Falcons.
1st and 10 Atlanta at the 25 of New Orleans. Miller with plenty of time to John Settle. And Settle inside the 15-yard line.
I like to call a play-action pass. I think they were trying to go for 6 on this one. But Chris Miller kept his cool. Good coverage by the Saints. Stayed in the pocket and rolled out, found the alternative receiver for a 1st down.
Unnecessary roughness. Defense number 44 penalized half the distance to the goal line. 1st down.
I'll tell you what, I think that was a good call. Dave Waymer, left corner for the Saints. 44 versus 44. John Settle coming outside, almost out of bounds. I'd give him the benefit of the doubt, but that's clearly a late hit. And he got the worst of it as well. If you're going to get a cheap shot, at least make sure the guy goes down. Dave Waymer, first Pro Bowl last year in '87. Very heady, very uncharacteristic play by Dave Waymer from Notre Dame.
1st and goal for the Falcons. Ball at the 7 of the Saints. 4 receivers in for the Falcons. And Miller decides to run it. He gets down near the 1.
Ran the quarterback draw. It took Sylvester Stamps, spread him out. Took Alex Hickman, the tight end, spread him out. So now you've got the secondary coverage and the linebackers worrying about passes, spread out wide. And then he runs the quarterback draw to the 1-yard line. This is a very difficult play in a goal line to execute.
Number 64 is reporting.
He didn't really
as
sell the
eligible.
fake
Number
long enough, but he got
64.
good blocking. Almost a touchdown. Can't slide on this one. He's got to stick his head into it. Came close to scoring on that play.
2nd and goal. Primus and Settle are the running backs in for Atlanta.
New Orleans for a 3rd timeout.
And I got to tell you what, New Orleans is making some real errors here. They just had to call another timeout. They didn't have the right personnel in. Seems to be some real confusion here today with the New Orleans Saints defensive, offensive, and even their special team alignments. Jim Horace got to be absolutely furious that he's wasted timeout because they didn't have the right personnel in the ball game.
And we're still on the 3rd. The height of this organization.
Number 64 has reported as an eligible receiver. Number 64.
That's Jamie Dukes in for the Atlanta Falcons. 3rd-year player out of Florida State reporting in as an eligible receiver. Primus and Settle, the running backs. 2nd and goal. Ball at the 1 for the Falcons. This is Settle. And a flag is thrown on a play with the touchdown signal for the Falcons. We'll await the call by the official.
The Falcons are saying touchdown.
Offside. Defense lined up in the neutral zone. Penalty is declined. Touchdown.
So the touchdown for the Falcons stand. John Settle, second-year player out of Appalachian State, scores a touchdown for Atlanta.
And a very impressive drive by a young Falcon offense. Go over the left side of the line behind Jamie Dukes. Mike Kent, good stick there, but not enough to prevent him from going over for a touchdown. There's nothing fancy about this. Who wants it more? Who wants it? And Settle wanted it more for the touchdown.
And the point after by Greg Davis is good. And Atlanta regains the lead on the running touchdown of that man, John Settle. 6-point pad to Atlanta. A New Orleans turnover. Fumble recovery by Bobby Butler leads to make that an Atlanta touchdown, and the Falcons take the lead 21-15 with 3:59 remaining in the third. Mel Gray back deep for the Saints. Takes it at the goal line. He's across the 20. And Gray still on his feet. Across the 30, near the 35-yard line. Excellent return by Mel Gray. David Krudip on the stop.
I'll tell you what, when you get a big momentum drive like they did just then, you should see those guys on special teams. They are flying down with power packs on their back. There were some great hits on that one. Last week, New Orleans had 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and 1 fumble. Today, early in the third quarter, they've got 4 fumbles.
A 34-yard kick return by Mel Gray gives the Saints the ball at their own 34. Hill and Martin to the right. This is Reuben Mays, the ball carrier. Mays with first down yardage plus.
I think they're going to test the right side of that Falcon defense. They've got a second-year guy, Michael Reed, in there. Been running away from that dirt on the infield. And behind those big guys, Dombrowski, Edelman, they've got a very fleet back in number 36.
First and 10 for the Saints. Ball at their own 46. 3:14 remaining in the third quarter. Saints trail 21-15. Hebert back to pass. Complete to Craig Hayward out of the backfield. And the big fella takes it near midfield. A 4-yard pickup.
Things are getting turned up a few notches here. I think we're getting a lot of guys are going into the locker room. Mike Gann, number 76, just went in. Take a look. He's had a rough day, and it's only in the third quarter. But I can just see, you can see things are just, the hitting is getting harder here in the third quarter. These guys are getting tired, but they're turning it up a notch as they can smell victory for the Atlanta Falcons.
Reggie Camp is in at left end to replace Mike Gann. 2nd and 6, ball at midfield for the Saints. Bonzel Hill in motion. Hebert, the handoff to Hilliard. Dalton Hilliard with a 6-yard run, stopped by John Rady.
Rady had to chase him down. They split Hayward out again, running that one-back offense. And Hilliard's finding plenty of yards to get to that offense. And now they take him out. They bring in Reuben Mays. So they keep those backs fresh. I correct myself, they only have 1 back. And he's 260 pounds of back. He looks like 2, but he's only 1.
He could count as 3. Ball at the 44 of Atlanta. 1st and 10 for the Saints. Martin in motion. Play action. Up top for John Tice. In and out of the hands. Michael Reed on the coverage.
Well, they're going to test a young linebacker who wasn't expected to play because of the injury to number 51, Marcus Cotton. And that time, Hebert tried to lift it over him, but Mike Reed did a great job of coming back, face guarding a little bit, even though it's legal, and preventing the pass from being completed. You can do that as long as you don't wave your arms. It's all right to do that. Prevents the pass from being completed.
They say you can wave with one hand, but not two.
When you're desperate, if you had three, you'd wave them.
On 2nd and 10, this is Hayward. Hayward across the 40 to the 39. They'll bring up a 3rd down.
What do you do right now? They got the offense really rolling. Jim Hannafin used to be the head coach of the St. Louis Cardinals. Down here is the offensive line coach. They've got things under control. They got to feel pretty good. They've been making the adjustments, good pass protection, giving their young quarterback time to find the open receiver.
Saints are 5 of 10 on 3rd down conversions. Dime defensive package in for the Falcons. 3rd and 5 out of the shotgun. Hebert across the middle, complete. And it looks to be enough for the 1st down. Brett Perryman was the receiver.
And there's a flag on the field.
Personal foul. Defense, number 93. All right, we've got...
Things get rough when you're playing defense or playing offense. And I think there was a little extracurricular here as you take a look behind Bobby Hebert. Little kick there. Almost looked like Andre Bruce was giving some taekwondo or something to him. What do you think, James? You know those kicks.
Not a very good kick.
Got him 15 yards. Good enough for 15. I guess you're right. I always felt if you're going to get your kicks in, make it worth 15 yards.
That was Dombrowski and Andre Bruce on the pushing action.
See, that's a smart play by Dombrowski. Smart because he didn't retaliate, got the 15 yards.
Personal foul. Defense, number 93. 15 yards. 1st down.
Goaded a young guy who wants to make a big impression into making a careless mistake, a non-thinking mistake. You got to play emotionally, but you got to stay within yourself. And that is a big 15-yard penalty against the Falcons.
And the Saints, on the strength of that penalty, march inside the 20-yard line of the Falcons. Ball marked at the 17. It'll be 1st and 10.
The key is when you make one mistake that you don't compound it and make two. Let's see how Andre Bruce does this time.
35 seconds remaining in the 3rd. Ruben Mays. Mays across the 10. He'll score. Touchdown, New Orleans. A 17-yard touchdown run by Ruben Mays.
Ruben Mays gives that quickness to their offense they really need. Little misdirection play right inside the left end. Take a look here, some great blocking. Hayward gets in the way of Ruben Mays, but also some Falcon defenders, and Mays cuts it to the corner for a touchdown. His 1st touchdown of the year.
And Morton Anderson.
We have a delay of the game against number 45. He spiked the ball, which he cannot do by rule. It will be assessed on the kickoff. Touchdown, New Orleans.
Taking the fun out of the game, James. Here's Hayward. He didn't even score the touchdown, but he wants to have some fun spiking the ball. Take that away this year. Cannot do that. Can't throw it in the face of the defensive guy after running over him. Oh, he'll learn.
Morton Anderson looking to break the 21-21 tie. And he does. With 19 seconds remaining in the 3rd, the Saints take a 22-21 lead over the Falcons. Good ball game, back and forth.
Back and forth is right. The defenses on both sides have been having some problems. Both offenses have been doing well. Ruben Mays didn't start today, but Coach Morris said that he had to get him into the offense some because he just has so much acceleration and more speed than maybe Dalton Hilliard has. You watch this play, little misdirection play, gets past 96, And now it's just, he can go inside, outside. Nice little swivel hip move there. It's a nice blocking by his wide receivers and 45 Hayward for the first touchdown of the year for number 36, Ruben Mays.
And the first rushing touchdown for the Saints. Coach Morris said he was very pleased with the attitude of Ruben Mays. Many thought that he might be complaining because he lost his starting position to Dalton Hilliard.
Well, they're very pleased because they have two good quality backs. You can shuffle them in. They both have important contributions to make and will make throughout this 1988 season for the New Orleans Saints. And when you combine that with a big 260-pound fullback, whew, man, if you're a defensive player, at the end of the day, you take your helmet off and you've got a whole bunch of marks on your forehead. Your shoulder hurts. Your whole body hurts. They get you a lot of different ways with the offense that the running game and the Saints can present.
7 plays, 65 yards, 3 minutes and 40 seconds, capped by a Ruben Mays 17-yard touchdown run. And you don't know whether you're hearing the Falcon or the Saints fans cheering here. I said earlier, a large contingent.
Well, they got that who dat going, and they have reason to be happy. They finally got the lead here. But this is very impressive drives by both offenses. I don't know if that says a lot about your defense, but they have a lot of talent.
Sylvester Stamps back deep to receive this Morton Anderson kick, and Anderson has really been putting some foot in these kicks. Stamps decides to bring it out. And he's at the 22. Stopped by Maxie Brett. And I don't think that Maxie would appreciate me reversing his name.
Just give him credit. He'll be happy, I think.
Certainly not his mother.
Well, that was the first one of the few kickoffs, I think, that Sylvester Stamps has been able to take out of the end zone. Morton Anderson kicking very deep today on the kickoffs.
1st and 10 for the Falcons at their own 22. 9 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. John Settle out of the backfield to the 24-yard line. Play took only 5 seconds.
You have to be very impressed with Chris Miller. Again, they're coming in with a lot of heat, a lot of pressure, and he had to throw a very difficult pass, almost sideways to number 44, John Settle, for the completion. This guy has not been rattled by the pressure he's received today from a very good defense.
Ball at the 25. And Miller had to get rid of it quickly. Intended receiver James Primus.
Well, they try to run a quick screen, but you gotta give the quarterback a little bit of time to see the play develop. Didn't do that. Chris Miller, talked to him, of course, yesterday. Very impressive guy. Marion Campbell said he's a gym rat. He can play every sport well. He got drafted by the Seattle Mariners in baseball. Only batted 101, so he moved on to another sport, football. And, of course, the Falcon fans are very happy he's down here.
Brings up a 3rd down. Rocket package in for the Falcons on 3rd and 7. And Ricky Jackson, the linebacker for New Orleans, almost had a hand on that pass intended for Stacey Bailey, but there is a flag on the play.
And it's holding against the Falcons.
Holding. Offense, number 64. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
That's Jamie Dukes.
Jamie Dukes replacing John Scully, who's on the sideline with a wrap around his right thigh. Looks as though he's just unable to go, putting in a young guy against a very good defense.
Start of the 4th quarter here in Atlanta. Saints on top, 22-21. This is Rick Donnelly punting for the Falcons. Mel Gray back for the Saints. And Gray somehow evades tackler after tackler. A flag is thrown on the play.
Ran into his own man on that one after making some great evasions from 2 guys who were headhunting coming down to hit him.
38-yard punt. Signal is going to go against the Saints.
Take away a little bit of that good field position.
Illegal block. On the return, number 28, 10-yard penalty.
That's Gene Atkins. So a hard-earned 9-yard return by Mel Gray will be wiped out.
I don't think coaches ever look happy on the sideline, but Jim Mora is not a very happy coach. I wonder how many pieces of gum he's gone through today. And here could be a big one. 13-10, Indianapolis over the Bears.
Still a tie ball game between the Bays.
A lot of close games here going into the fourth quarter.
And Timmy Smith, the running back for the Washington Redskins, ejected for pushing an official on that one. 1st and 10 for the Saints at their own 31, just underway in the fourth quarter. Hayward, big back, gets a big hole and goes straight ahead. First down, picked up by Craig Hayward.
Chris Miller took a heck of a hit. Steve Dill's coming over to see if he's all right, to see whether or not he has to take that baseball cap up and start loosening up. Chris Miller in that last series took a heck of a hit on 3rd down into his thigh. It looks like he'll be okay.
An 11-yard gain by Craig Hayward, rookie out of Pittsburgh. 1st and 10 for the Saints at their own 41. Saints on top by 1. Hayward again. And Hayward across the 45 to the 46, a gain of 5.
They pulled Brad Edelman on that one. And I'll tell you, in the fourth quarter, everybody's a little bit tired. Number 45, 260 pounds, can really start taking his toll in the fourth quarter when everybody's legs aren't quite fresh. He looks pretty fresh. He's got great acceleration, but he also moves so well for a guy that big, doesn't he?
Says he's having fun.
Well, he is having fun, but no one else is when you have to tackle him.
2nd and 5. Ball marked at New Orleans 46. This is Reuben Mays. And Mays couldn't find anywhere to go on the left side of that run. And a New Orleans player slow getting up. John Rady and Michael Reed were in on the stop.
Looks like number 85, Hobie Brenner. That'd be an awful big loss to the Orleans offense. Let me correct that, the New Orleans offense, and we'll see how he is when we come back.
Game here in Atlanta, both quarterbacks doing the job statistically, Bobby Adair and Chris Miller. But the turnovers, 4 turnovers by New Orleans is hurting them. That's why they only enjoy a 1-point lead, 22-21. And Gary, that's in sticking with the theme that we talked about at the top of the show.
Well, really, as we said, no one won last week if they gave the ball up more than they took it away. And so far, it's been a very close game. Atlanta has played extremely well. I'm sure Jim Mora is not very happy with the way the Saints have played.
New Orleans has certainly got to hope for better. 12 minutes and 56 seconds remaining in the contest. 3rd and 4. Saints at their own 47. Brett Perryman in motion. Complete to Eric Martin. And Martin, with a nifty move, takes it across down to about the 42-yard line.
At that time, they had 4 wide receivers. They brought one across the field and picked the defensive back who was in man-to-man coverage. Allowed the receiver to get open. Continues the drive.
And Hebert doing a good job of picking out his receivers. Keeps the drive alive. The Saints at the 41 of Atlanta. 1st and 10. Craig Hayward. Fullback split to the right. Reuben Mays across the 40. Down to the 37-yard line. Gain of about 4.
Mike Gann's back in the game and makes a nice stick there with Joel Williams. I think they have a good idea, those veterans, what's going to happen now. They're going to try some play-action passes, but they're just going to give it to number 45 and see whether or not they can wear down that front 7. Mike Gann out of Notre Dame. Look at that Falcon fan. He looks pretty cool. He's got a corduroy hat on. How can he wear that kind of hat in this weather?
Brings up a 2nd and 7 for the Saints. Ball at the 38 of Atlanta. Mays. down near the 35-yard line.
You know, when you got a guy who's in the fullback position who weighs more than probably Joel Hilgenberg, your starting right guard, you know you're going to get some blocking on this play. He took some short motion, and he was already out there on the contained man. Allowed Ruben Mays to pick and choose what hole he wanted to go.
As we went to commercial, Hobie Brenner was the injured New Orleans Saints player on the field.
And
injured hip, and was questionable as to whether or not he'll be back in the game.
Leaves it up to John Tice, number 82. Very capable tight end to do the job.
3rd and 4 for the Saints at the Falcons 35. And a great catch by John Tice going down. First down yardage for New Orleans.
Well, John Tice is a very, very big tight end. He was going against a linebacker on this one. 6'5", 250 pounds, one-on-one against John Rady. He invites the contact. That's legal. Rady loses his balance, and he makes a nice diving catch for the first down. Now, John Rady's going to say, hey, that's illegal, but within 5 yards is completely legal. Just pushed off when went for the first down.
Saints at the 26 of Atlanta. 9:53 remaining in the 3rd. Hebert back to pass on first down. Has Hayward out of the backfield. Hayward up and over. An earthquake on the right side of the field as Hayward landed inside the 10.
Well, that's a big man to jive over it. I think if I was coming in and making this tackle and I went low and he jumped, I would hope that he just didn't land on me. Comes out of the backfield, good hands, you can see there. Now he's going to jump or hurdle over the defensive back, number 34, Moore. God, Rady's lucky he didn't fall on him, number 59, or he might have gotten knocked out of the ball game, might have broken some ribs.
Rattled the first down marker over there. 1st and goal for the Saints. Hilliard inside the 5 to the 4-yard line. A 4-yard pickup by Dalton Hilliard, smashed by Joel Williams.
Right, once you get inside the 10-yard line, everything is up for grabs. And look at number 54, Joel Williams, coming from the inside linebacking position. Hilliard cuts inside his block, and he gets, whoa, good stick, good finishing hit. Actually, John Rady made the first hit. Linebackers have been very active for the Falcon defense today.
Joel Williams in on the assist. 2nd and goal, ball at the 4. Hilliard looking for room. Touchdown, New Orleans.
You want to see a good running back who makes a touchdown all on his own. They run this counter play. He's got guys pulling, but 34, Robert Moore has him dead left to right, pulls a Houdini move on him. I'm here, now I'm gone, and it's a race for the flag, and he just outraces John Rady. A lot of arm tackling, and boy, does that guy want a touchdown or what? Dives in for the touchdown.
Gordon Anderson is good on the point after. And the Saints go up by a touchdown. Make that 8. 29-21 Saints.
Hello, business
Is sponsored by Allstate. For home, auto, and life insurance, you're in good hands with Allstate. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. And by Subaru. We built our reputation by building a better car.
New Orleans' 2nd rushing touchdown of the season gives them a 29-21 lead over the Falcons. 8:52 remaining in the 4th. Anderson with a low, long kick, scooped up by Stamps at the 2. And Stamps stopped just inside the 25. 10 plays, 70 yards, 5 minutes, 55 seconds. And Dalton Hilliard created his own 4-yard touchdown run. The Saints were number 1 in rushing touchdowns last year with 20. Hilliard gave them their second one of this season.
Well, time to see what a young quarterback's made of. 8 points down, plenty of time left in the fourth quarter. But you don't want to let your defense have to stay on the field too long in the fourth quarter. They need some time on that bench.
On first down, the handoff to Settle. And Settle finds the hole.
For a guy who wasn't supposed to start today, this guy has fresh legs. Watch John Settle go through the line. Some good blocking, really good blocking by his offensive line. Cuts back across the field, and it's a race to the goal line. Van Jakes, number 22, will come into your screen, the last guy. And he's huffing and puffing. Good blocking there. You don't really see a lot of that. Hey, Settles is having one heck of a game replacing number 42, Gerald Riggs.
They say he's not fast, but that was a 62-yard gain. And this is Settle again as he goes ahead to the 10. A 3-yard pickup by John Settle.
Let me tell you something. I'm surprised at Gabe Settle. He just ran 60 yards. I'm sure he's in huddle, huffing and puffing, going, hey, guys, give it to somebody else this play. Take a look at these first down averages. Both teams not doing the job defensively against two offenses that are really having a better end of it today. Boy, that was a big play. That's great.
2nd and 7, ball at the 10 of the Saints. Miller, back to pass. Jackson puts him on the grass. Number 3 for Jackson.
Ricky Jackson told me last night he wanted to blitz more. They blitzed the outside linebacker and the strong safety on this one. Man-to-man coverage. Good coverage by the secondary. Didn't have time to throw it. Big sack for the defense.
Ricky Jackson and Pat Swilling accounted for 20 sacks of the 47 recorded by New Orleans last season. Jackson's got 3 so far. Brings up 3rd and 21 for the Falcons at the New Orleans 24. Miller under pressure again. Frank Warren drags him out of bounds. And Gary, you ask why Riggs is not playing. Simply a coach's decision.
Well, it's certainly a very important part to this offense, but the other backs are doing a great job. I'm sure Marion Campbell says, hey, I want to make sure that I have Gerald Riggs for the entire season, not just 1 or 2 games. That was a big series of defense, some big plays by the New Orleans Saints to prevent them from getting in for a touchdown.
And a big play coming up for Greg Davis, a 41-yard attempt. And it's no good. So Greg Davis, the man who made his mark as a replacement player last year with the Falcons, misses a 41-yard field goal attempt. The Falcons still trail by 8. All right, Brandon, we certainly look forward to that tennis final to see if the machine, Yvonne Lindell, can get his 4th straight U.S. Open title.
Well, both of these offenses have looked like a tennis match today, up and down that field, back and forth with long, long rallies.
Cajun fans on hand and a Cajun-born quarterback, Bobby Hebert. Louisiana certainly has produced some awfully good quarterbacks over the years. Bobby Hebert, Doug Williams, Terry Bradshaw. As we take a look at the scoring by quarters, good ball game. 8-point difference, 7:07 remaining in the contest. 1st and 10 for the Saints on their own 24. Mays across the 30 to the 33.
Well, if you're number 1 draft choice for the Falcons, Andre Bruce, you knew you were in a ball game today because they have run right at him all afternoon. Ruben Mays looks pretty fresh. I got to wonder about that Falcon defense right now. They look a little slow getting back to the huddle. They know they're going to see a 260-pound fullback going inside. Marion Campbell's got to decide when. Andre Bruce with that big neck collar on. Got to get in there and make some plays out left side with Mike Gann. Can't allow the New Orleans Saints to eat the clock up.
2nd and 2, ball at the 32. Mays again. Looks to have the first down.
Well, there you have it. The kicker, the punter, we're the only two guys that really talk and stay with one another during the entire game. And Davis missed an important field goal, James, I would say. Not critical, but certainly would have got him within a touchdown if he had made it. A good kick, just didn't bend in for him a little bit at the end.
Mays wound up just shy of the first down. That'll bring up 3rd and inches. This is Mays again. He's got the first down, plus a couple. So Reuben Mays, run out of bounds by Bobby Butler, that is. Mays last week carried the ball 2 times for only 4 yards. Has now gone over 75 yards on the afternoon.
Well, Reuben Mays, of course, we knew would be a very important part and will be an important part of this offense. Because, again, you got 2 very fresh, good running backs, plus a big fullback. It really makes your passing game even more effective.
Ball control by the Saints with 5:23 remaining in the game. Up by 8. This is Mays on first down again as he runs into Mike Gann. And don't forget, coming up after football here, an outstanding final U.S. Open tennis action. Yvonne Lendl against number 2 seed Mats Wilander. Who do you like there?
Well, I think I like Yvonne Lendl because he's already won the last 3, but let's just hope there isn't any wind up in New York so those guys don't have to worry about it. I'm sure they don't care at this point. They got to where they want to be, and it could be raining, and they'd still be willing to play.
It's almost like Lendl and Wilander playing in their own backyard. Lendl will be making his 7th appearance in the U.S. Open final. Here we've got the New Orleans Saints. 2nd and 8, ball on their own 38, 4:36 remaining. This is Hilliard. And Hilliard up near the 40. Good ball game going on between the Giants and the 49ers. Giants just went ahead by 4. Under 2 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter there. 14-yard touchdown pass from Sims to Manuel.
Well, if you're Marion Campbell, you got to start making some decisions here. Are you going to blitz to try to stop the running game? Because New Orleans will be very content to run this ball game out with 4 minutes to go. Just give it to their backs, eat up that time on the clock. You've got to do something to make something happen real quick because you've got to give your offense enough time to score not just once, but twice before the end of the game.
The Saints were the best in the league last year at time possession, ball possession. Out of the shotgun, 3rd and 6. Hebert. And it's complete. And the drive stays alive as Robert Clark hauls in the Bobby Hebert pass.
Clark was going against Charles Dimmery on this. Hebert has time to pick out the receiver he wants to go to. Dimmery not close enough on the man-to-man protection, but look at that catch. That's really a fine catch by number 89.
And is this a sign, an unfortunate omen for the Falcons as the rain starts to come down with 3:07 remaining in the game. Falcons trailing by 8. 1st and 10 for the Saints. Ball at the 48 of New Orleans. Hilliard in motion. Hayward, the ball carried. And it takes 4 red jerseys to bring down the big fella.
Well, even though there's a little bit of rain, I don't think too many of those New Orleans Saint fans are going to leave.
They came prepared.
They did. Bobby Hebert has had an outstanding afternoon. Passing the ball, not giving it up through interception. We have a timeout here.
timeout, Atlanta. Their first timeout. This is a 40-second timeout.
You know, I think Joel Williams, number 54, is going to come over to Marion Campbell and say, what are we going to do here, guys? Probably got a blitz. Just play zone. They're going to run this ball, and we're not going to have any time to score a touchdown on the other side.
Well, certainly those Falcons fans that showed up today really have reason to be heartened with the performance by the Falcons today.
I'll tell you what, Chris Miller, the quarterback, did an outstanding job. Really, the running backs, John Settle had an outstanding afternoon. Wasn't even scheduled to start. Came in when Gerald Briggs was taken out. Had a great afternoon. Playing one very talented team. And I think that certainly the improvement that we've seen here today with Atlanta versus where they were at last year must be encouraging to every Falcon fan who's watching this game.
And the Saints very flat in the first half, as you indicated. Not a very pretty second half, but effective and productive.
And they got back to where the strength of this team is. You know, last week they passed the ball a lot out of necessity. Bobby Hebert had an outstanding afternoon, throwing for completing over 70% of his passes, but he and everyone else in that offense and defense know that this is a running team. They got to establish that run to be successful, and they're doing it here in the second half.
On 2nd and 8, this is Reuben Mays. Mays takes it up to the 47-yard line. Gain of about 3 before being stopped by Tony Casillas.
Atlanta, their second timeout. This is a 40-second timeout.
You're going to start seeing Reuben Mays, Dalton Hilliard, Hayward. They're going to run a little more in control because they don't want to get stripped of that football. They're going to cover it up with 2 hands, make sure there's no opportunity for a cheap turnover that might give the Falcons an opportunity to get good field position and quickly score.
Boy, we don't have the only good game in town. This is a great one going on there.
Well, certainly Joe Montana to Jerry Rice, that connection again for a touchdown, 80 yards. And you know that both teams on this field are looking at that. The Atlanta Falcons go out to San Francisco next weekend.
Well, these very same Saints broke Jerry Rice's successive streaks in terms of catching touchdowns per game.
Looks like he's on his way to starting another streak with that touchdown there. Well, what do you think they're going to do here? 3rd and 4. I'll let you make the call, James. Try a run.
Hebert across the middle to Perryman. And where do they mark the forward progress? Looks to be a little shy of the first down. Brett Perryman injured his ankle last week against the 49ers. Said he is not 100% and did not expect to play today, but he's in there. And we're at the 2-minute mark of this contest. Saints on top, 29-21. 29-21. And turnovers certainly have played an important part of this game, but with 2 minutes left in the ball game, Campbell, of course, plays that bend but don't break defense. Should he get creative?
I think they're going to punt the ball and try to pin him in, make it very difficult for you. 2 scores before the end of the game.
Brian Hansen into punt for the Saints. Aubrey Matthews back for the Falcons. And Matthews decides to let it hit, and it stays inbounds. So an excellent punt by Bobby Hansen. And again, we were talking about whether or not Marion Campbell ought to get creative on defense and try to get the ball back. Your thoughts?
I think right now you got to worry more about New Orleans. Atlanta has 97, 98 yards to go. They're going to play soft, probably play what a lot of people hate to see is that prevent defense, but they can allow more than just 1 touchdown and still win this game.
And we've got a close one with under 2 minutes here to take a look at Marion Campbell. He's got the wheels turning. Injured New Orleans player being taken off the field, being tended to.
The other problem they have is that offensively the Falcons only have 1 timeout remaining. They've got 94 yards to go for a touchdown, and that still will keep them several points short of even tying the New Orleans Saints.
The injured player for the Saints being led off the field is Brett Maxey.
Going to be going against the nickel defense here.
1st and 10 for the Falcons. pinned at their own 4. Miller with time. Complete. Up near the 15-yard line, Aubrey Matthews. Close coverage that time by Van Jakes.
Saints have their nickel package in. They're just going to drop back into zones. See how long it takes them to move down the field. Only has 1:30 left.
2nd and 1. Falcons in their rocket package. 4 wideouts. Miller decides to run. No, he's passing. In and out of the hands of Floyd Dixon.
But James, I think at some point you just got to let it loose and hope for a interference call or maybe a completion, tip pass or something, because you really only have a little over a minute to go and you need more than 1 score. So I think they've got to go deep soon.
Don't forget at the completion of this game, numbers 1 and numbers 2.
And this is going to be a great match.
Vielander.
This is going to be a great match.
On 3rd down, Miller back to pass. Underthrows the intended receiver, Aubrey Matthews. So that'll bring up a big decision for Marion Campbell. Then again, not too much of a decision. 4th and 1. 1:12 remaining in the game.
You got 4th and 1. You need to get the first down, and you only need maybe a foot or so. But you do that, and then you have to worry about the clock running out on you. I think he's got to make a sure, easy zone pass here for the first down, then go to a no-huddle offense and go downtown as quick as you can.
3rd down conversions haven't been easy. Atlanta 0 for 8, the last 8. They keep it on the ground, and it looks to be enough for the first down. John Settle, the ball carrier.
You're not going to be able to go for those short passes. That's exactly what the defense wants you to do. He's got to throw it deep if he wants to score.
And the clock is running. Miller in the direction of Floyd Dixon. Incomplete.
And I think right now, New Orleans Saints feel that they've got this game wrapped up because it doesn't look like the Falcons want to go deep. The purpose of playing this very loose zone defense is that he does exactly that. Tries to find a little hole, wastes a lot of time. You've got to go deep, Chris, if you want to try to score. You got to go deep and you got to get lucky. There's no doubt about it. There's not enough time normally to move it down like you would like to.
On 2nd and 10, complete to Stacey Bailey, and Bailey gets the first down. 44 seconds remaining in the game. Atlanta trailing 29-21.
Chris Miller has done an outstanding job for the Falcons today. I'm sure that the Saints have much greater respect for this young quarterback from Oregon. I'd like to see a flea flicker or something. Try something special, you know.
1st and 10 at the 28 of Atlanta. This is John Settle. Settle maybe a yard before being stopped by Tony Elliott.
I'll tell you what, I can't understand that call at all. I mean, you got to hope that he's going to run 60 yards again like he did earlier in the game, but it's kind of unlikely. You got to throw the ball north and south instead of just hitting little zone completions.
On 2nd. Underthrows Stacey Bailey with 18 seconds remaining.
Well, New Orleans has to feel they got not lucky today. They didn't play a good first half, but they played very well in the second half. Both sides of the ball. Controlled Miller. Didn't allow him to scramble a lot today as he did against Detroit. Kept him in that pocket and made him make some quick decisions. And a young quarterback, when he's making those quick decisions, tends to go short rather than trying to beat you deep.
On 3rd down, Atlanta at their own 30. Going up top. And it's intercepted. So the New Orleans Saints come away with the interception. Gene Atkins, second-year player out of Florida A&M, kills the Atlanta drive with 10 seconds remaining.
Well, it's about the only chance they had. 3 wide receivers to one side. You throw up that Hail Mary pass, but his wide receivers didn't get deep enough to even get to an opportunity to tip the ball up, and it was an easy interception for Gene Atkins. Backup safety. Like to get those cheap statistics at the end of the game if you're a defensive back. That's exactly what you want. Give it to me. Get in that statistic book.
They count.
Bet you that guy's very happy. All right. Got in there. Got my interception. You guys can have all your sacks and everything else, but I got my pick. I'm happy. I'm looking at a dejected Chris Miller, but I'll tell you what. That is going to be a rising star in the NFL. Very smooth, very confident, gets a little more experience. He'll know how much time he really does have. Instead of just going to where the defense gives you, you start taking advantage of where you think you can go. Finding those seams and those cracks. Chink in the armor, if you will, for the defense.
A statistically sound day for Chris Miller. 24-36 last week, 15 of 29 today, 2 touchdowns, only 1 interception, a total of 179 yards.
Well, I think if you can fault the Falcon defense here, the only thing you can say is that they couldn't get the other side off the field quick enough. You know, I think they got worn down a little bit with a fine running game in the 4th quarter.
And Dick Hancock awaiting the results of this replay that's being reviewed by Jack Fett.
You better believe now Gene Atkins.
Interception, first down, New Orleans.
Gene Atkins, I bet you, got up on that sideline and said, hey, you're not going to steal that away from me now. I had both feet in. Bobby Hebert and the New Orleans Saints are 1-1.
And Jim Mora waves across the field to Marion Campbell as the New Orleans Saints come away with their 3rd consecutive victory against Atlanta. Last year it was of a 38-0 variety. Today it's 29-21. So for Gary Fensick, this is James Brown saying so long from Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, where the final score was the New Orleans Saints 29, Atlanta 21. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.